All right, so it's Thursday and it's 1 p.m. Central Time. So everyone knows what that means. Huge movie fanatic Nate doing a live show to get us through the horrible winter months. And as I said several times before in the past, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with this. I can't see the mic thing. Hello, 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 hello. I can't see the mic thing. Can can you guys can hear me? Okay, I'm not seeing the green thing appear in the next to the mic. Okay, welcome everyone. Just another show coming at you to help pass the winter months. Austin Wilcutt is here on time, very much on time versus last week, showing up pretty much when I wanted to end. So welcome, thank you for doing so. Austin Wilcutt's got some new Blu-rays. We got a new guy in the chat, Matthew Haggerty. Welcome. Feel free to list off them new Blu-rays, Austin. We want to hear all about them. That's why we're here. Oh, man. Anyway, I'm glad Austin showed up earlier this time versus late last week because being the caring softy I am, I extended last week's show to accommodate, to make some extra time for the late showing up Austin. In the since our show last week, some interesting news came down the pike regarding Scream Factory releases. Very, very exciting news for us King Kong 1976 fans. Scream Factory is going to be releasing a Blu-ray of it featuring 2 discs, 1 disc theatrical and 1 disc TV cut. And another thing that they announced since we did the last show last week was an Explorers Blu-ray. I saw that movie in the theater as a kid. So I'm a big fan of at least the first 3/4 of the movie. So excited about the Explorers Blu-ray as well. Matthew Haggerty asks, do you use any streaming services? My mom is a member of Prime, so I use my mom's Prime streaming service. I've been doing, I never watched Deep Space Nine or Star Trek Voyager in the 90s, so I'm catching up on my DS9 and Voyager. I'd say for the most part, I don't think I really missed anything with Deep Space Nine, even though I'm just going to complete season 3, and I'd say season 3 is a lot better than the first 2 seasons, where I like Voyager a lot more, but that's what I think the winters past, like the couple winters past on Prime, they have like the remastered Baywatch. So I think the past couple winters on Prime I did over the winter to help get, past the winter, I did Baywatch. I forgot what season I'm up to, but I just got disinterested when some of the early seasons people disappeared and stuff. Like I just the staples. It's not like I care about the show one way or another, but that blonde chick, when the blonde chick from that one movie Under Siege, when she disappeared, and the guy who was Billy Warlock, when he disappeared, it was just like I just kind of got bored of the show, and then they got these new kids and all this and that. So let's see. So the last winter, I don't know, the couple last winters I did Baywatch on Prime because they got the remastered episodes or whatever. That was just kind of fun and stupid, just to pass the stupid winter weeks and months. Austin, we're dying to. I can only assume you mean you got some new Blu-rays. If that's the case, we're dying to hear some of the titles or all of the titles of your new Blu-rays. If I'm understanding your little thing correctly. You know, if I can only assume you mean you got some new Blu-rays. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, I feel, I don't know. You spend half the time looking for stuff on streaming services. Half the time you spend on there, you're looking around. I think it's way too much to choose from, and I don't know. I don't do that. Austin Wilcutt got Basket Case 2 and 3 recently on Blu-ray. Yeah, I've got 2. I've got 3, but not 2 because I got a pretty good version of 2. Regarding your question, Matt, I don't know. I kind of like to keep things separate. Jose Gomez is here. Says, hello, Nate. Welcome. Austin Wilcutt says, I also have the Arrow release of Basket Case 1. Looks damn good for such a low-budget film. Yeah, I prefer the first Blu-ray release of it. I reviewed the Arrow video release of it, and I prefer the first Blu-ray release of it. But all you got to really do, in my opinion, is just turn down the brightness. The Arrow video Blu-ray is a little bright for my taste. All you got to do is turn down the brightness, and it kind of fixes it. But it's got some good extras. Some of the extras on the Arrow video Blu-ray are just kind of nasty. And I talk about that in my review of the Basket Case Arrow video Blu-ray. But I agree, it does look pretty good for a lowbrow movie. Matthew asks, are you a fan of 4K movies? I think they look too good that it makes them look fake. Yeah, I was so pissed off when the 4K was announced and shit. I'm kind of anti-4K. When you're my age and you're a movie fan, you've already bought your movie collections, you know, with on Blu-ray, you're like at your third or fourth generation or you know, third or fourth time buying movies, you know, like franchises and movies you really love. And I'm really sick of it at this point. Blu-ray, you know, from my opinion, DVD was good enough for the rest of my life. You know, Blu-ray is definitely good enough for the rest of my life. So, yeah, I'm kind of anti-4K. I really don't want to even really end up with it and rebuy movies I've already bought 4 times or 3 or 4 times again on 4K. So I'm an anti-4K individual. So I agree. I can only assume, I've never really even looked at a 4K TV, but I can only assume that it does, it's like so sharp that it just looks stupid. I mean, HD is definitely good enough for me. I mean, normal first, you know, 1080p. Austin Wilcutt says, I didn't really need to see the director naked in the interview. Yeah, someone was naked. Who, I don't think, was it the director? I can't remember who. Yeah, I can't remember who was naked. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like his sense of humor is just stupid. Matthew Haggerty says, I think Blu-ray might even be too much in some cases, honestly. Yeah, I can agree with that. That's why I say that DVD upscaled on an HD TV is almost, you know, that it's really good. Matthew Haggerty says, 720p seems to be perfect unless you have an insanely big TV. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't have a huge TV. Austin Wilcutt says 4K is only good for older films. And he says, yeah, it was the director who was naked. Yeah, what a crock of shit that extra was. I talk about it in my review of the Aero video release of Basket Case. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It'd be nice to have a, if you're going to have an extra like that, it'd be nice to have a warning or a disclaimer. You're going to see dick in this fucking interview. Matthew Haggerty says, I know you said you'd made a feature-length horror movie. Whatever happened to that? I just, I sell it myself on DVD, and there's some all over the world. There's some in some of my DVDs in Germany and UK, Italy, I think New Zealand, Australia. I send DVDs all over the world of my movie. It's 10 years old now, or maybe even maybe 11 years old. So the sales have definitely fallen off. But yeah, if I'm sounding depressed, it's because we're currently going through the coldest weather of the season, and it's like for the past week, it's been single-digit Fahrenheit temperatures, and this is often how I sound in February. Maybe a little less animated. Austin Wilcutt says, I also bought the Scream Factory double feature of Bad Dreams and Visiting Hours. Yeah, I ended up getting that after the fact used because Bad Dreams is kind of fun. And I can't remember the name of that guy, with the burn victim guy, but he was always fun in the 80s as a bad guy. And Matthew Haggerty says, are you still selling it? Yes, I am. Maybe we can talk about it. Maybe I can leave some info on your channel or something like that. It's something that I kind of so maybe we can discuss it like that. Austin Wilcutt says everything is covered in ice where I live. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've seen temperatures beyond single digits for 7 days now, or 6 days. Matthew Haggerty says move to Florida, no mask bullshit, and warm year-round. Yeah, I can't. I'm not keen on Florida. I've thought about moving to Arizona a long time ago. I can't see how people are getting away without the horseshit face coverings in Florida. But I'm not keen on hurricanes, so I don't think I'd move to Florida. But thank you for the advice. If I moved anywhere, it'd probably be, to the southwest or something. Austin Wilcutt says Bad Dreams had a very twisted ending. I don't remember the ending, but I don't doubt I'm sure you're right. Yeah, I apologize for my I can hear my tone, it's the February in Minnesota tone. So please excuse my Day of the Living Dead in February in Minnesota tone in my voice. Matthew Haggerty says, why don't you put a trailer up for your movie on your channel? I'll talk to you about it on your channel. He doesn't live in Florida. Yeah, I gather by your accent, Pops, possibly the northern East Coast. Matthew Haggerty says Arizona looks decent. He says drink Red Bull, perk you up. Yeah, sugar's no good for you. Thank you for the advice, though. Cool little. I checked out your shed, Matthew. I checked out your shed video. Cool shed. Personally, I'd call it a cabin, but because it sounds more elegant to say you live in a cabin versus a shed. That's just me. You call it whatever you want. Matthew asked, did you see some of my shit videos? I didn't see the shit ones. I just saw the one that's pretty good where you build your little backyard shed. Which ones are the shit ones? Or is that how you refer to all your videos? Oh, okay. He calls it a shed more of as a joke. Yeah, I'd call it your cabin. But you call it whatever you want. But that's really cool, though. You know. Are you in the shed right now? Matthew Haggerty says, because the rate this country is going, a lot of people will live in an actual shed. Exactly, if they're that fortunate. Austin Woolcutt says, visiting hours was cool. Michael Ironside was pretty intimidating in it. Okay, so I forgot about both of those movies. It's funny how there's like a classic 80s baddie in each one. Yeah, I can't remember either of them, visiting hours or whatever the hell the other one was called. Deadly Dreams or whatever. I've been meaning to review both of those movies and that Scream Factory Blu-ray double feature, but there's just way too much to talk, way too much to review and not enough time. Matthew Haggerty says they're all shit, ha ha ha, regarding to his videos. He also says thanks. Yeah, I'm in the shed. So what's your the temperature outside where you are? I can only assume your space heater is working overtime right now. Austin Woolcutt says visiting hours has a much better Blu-ray transfer than Bad Dreams, in my opinion. Yeah, as I said, can't remember either of the movies. Bad Dreams is something that I became aware of in the late 80s and probably saw it maybe not long after it came out on home video. So that's why I wanted to get that double feature. I came across it used and I'm like, oh, gimme. But I can't remember that guy's name, the burn victim guy who was in Bad Dreams, the baddie, but he was really fun in the 80s. He played that same role over and over and over and over in Invasion USA and I don't know. There's this other one that takes place in South America or whatever, and there's this super hot chick who's naked in the shower for a brief amount of time that I've been cut and run. He did the same kind of role in Cut and Run as well. So that guy was fun. Matthew Haggerty says, I'd love to make a feature-length horror movie one day. Well, my suggestion is just to do it. Austin Woolcutt says, Basket Case 2 looks gorgeous on Blu-ray. All the freaks are eye-popping. Yeah, the reason I didn't get the Basket Case 2 Blu-ray is because I got the Synapse DVD before the Blu-ray came out, and it probably looks really similar. And because I don't even really like Basket Case 2 or 3 very much, so that's why I talk about it in my review of the movie. All the movies. I review all the movies in the case of 1 and 3, the Blu-rays. But yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, the DVD I think I mentioned in my review of Part 2 looks fine. So, not being a big fan of the movie, I'm not going to buy the Blu-ray, or at least unless it's free. Looks like it's 32 Fahrenheit. where Matthew Haggerty is, where I am. So basically you've got like 34 degrees on warmer than where I am currently. Also Fahrenheit. Matthew Haggerty says, I live outside of Philadelphia, so it never gets below 20 Fahrenheit most of the time, and that is during the coldest time. Okay, well, you're lucky. I don't think I'm ever, I complain about the winter and its worst time, which is right now. And I don't think there's things I like about the winter and the sterility of it, and no bugs and pretty much no nothing except deer walking around. And so I don't think I would like to live in a climate that's warm all the time, because then you gotta, I don't want to fucking worry about rattlesnakes and tarantula and shit. So as much as I'm complaining about the winter weather, I don't, part of me likes it. So I was just trying to explain why I sound like I'm suicidal, because it's -2 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's been that way for like a week. Austin Wilcutt says Richard Lynch is the bad guy in yeah, Richard Lynch, yeah. He was a great baddie in the day. He's also in Puppet Master 3. Richard Lynch was a good guy. So many great baddies. It just seems to me like there's not actors in movies like there used to be, where it's just like you're happy to see that guy show up. It's just I don't maybe that's because I'm not a kid anymore, but movies now, the very few that I watch now, it's not like you're ever happy to see any of these actors. You're like, oh, him again? Fuck, I hate him. Oh, him? Fuck, I hate him. Her? What a bitch. Yep, he was also in a Nazi in Puppet Master 3. You think I'm afraid of this? Matthew asks if I'm a fan of Zack Snyder films. Not particularly, I'm afraid. Austin Wilcutt says, I ordered a few Grindhouse DVDs from Full Moon's Valentine's Day sale. Yeah, anyone who's watching or watches this within the, after the, or listen, I should say listening, and listens to it after the fact, be aware that Full Moon's currently doing their Valentine's Day sale on the fullmoondirect.com. I'm not going to order anything on there. I pretty much got everything Full Moon that I want, but congratulations. Hope that stuff works out. One thing I hate about ordering from Full Moon is you order on the Valentine's Day sale, and if you're lucky, you might get it by the time they do their Halloween sale. That's kind of why I don't really like ordering from Full Moon. Matthew Haggerty chimes in. He says, winter is a lot quieter, no annoying ass leaf blowers and mowers. Yeah, that's one thing I love about it. I can't, as much as I'm complaining about winter, don't get me wrong, there's things I love about it, and that's probably why I'd never move. Because just like the silence, and I actually go for, freaking night walks, and, when it's overcast, and you've got the snow covered on the ground, it's like really bright out in the middle of the night. It's beautiful to go on winter night walks. And I saw you mentioned a comment or something in one of your videos regarding fucking leaf blowers. God damn, it's an epidemic. I mean, that's the real fucking epidemic. How they talk people into, believing that leaves are something that's bad that you want to get rid of, and spend money on things to blow them around and money on things to put leaves in. And it's just like, it's a racket. It's such a joke. Austin Wilcutt says, I also have Invasion USA on Blu-ray. Yeah, I've got the DVD of that. I don't think I got the Blu-ray, but that's a really fun movie. Matthew chimes in. He says, he probably meant move somewhere with a more mild winter. I can definitely see where you'd want to blow your brains out living somewhere that cold. Yeah, a friend of my dad's actually blew his brains out in February. So that's why February is really bad. It's a bad time of year for Minnesotans, because we've dealt with weeks and weeks at that point, you know, by the time you get to February, you've been suffering for weeks and weeks and weeks in cold and snow shit. But as I said, part of me likes it as well. So I'm just too lazy to fucking move. So I'm probably never gonna move. Austin Wolcott says the Puppet Masters look great on Blu-ray. Surprising to me since it's full moon. I think Paramount might have a hand in that, though. I don't think that Paramount had anything to do with um, Puppet Master Blu-rays, but that's just me. But you're right. Aside from the first one, which is like I think Full Moon's first Blu-ray was the first Puppet Master movie, and that one doesn't really hold up when you compare it to like 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Like those look really amazing. And then after that, because they started after 5, they apparently started editing their movies. Still shot on film, but they were editing on video. So some of the Puppet Master Blu-rays beyond 5 have standard definition inserts because they couldn't track down all of the film footage. They actually had to re-edit the whole movies for the very first time. Well, yeah. So basically, even though the Puppet Master movies were still shot on film after 5, they were only cutting on video, so they were never existed in a film quality version. So to make those Blu-rays, they had to try to find all the footage and recut it. So that's a hell of a workload. What a drag. Matthews says, yeah, I used to rarely hear the stupid ass things years ago, and it was like all of a sudden in the past decade you hear them everywhere. And just like you said, I think you're talking to someone, I think in one of your comments, it's like fucking sometimes twice in same guy twice in one day, and it's like every day, by the way. And it's like you fucking people really think that, you know, it's amazing how they've got people just conditioned to think that the natural world is just evil, dirty, gross, and, you know, these leaves have to be gotten away with. It's like these people are fucking insane. But fuck me, you're bringing up the leaf blower argument or the point, and it's just like, oh my god. Oh, Will Powell showed up. Good evening, sir. He says that because he's in the UK. Hello. Thank you for showing up. Austin Wilcutt says the 88 films Blu-ray of Puppet Master 1 is better. Oh, okay, than the Full Moon one? Okay, that's cool to hear. I wasn't aware of that. Austin also says Curse of the Puppet Master is the one with the SD inserts for the unrated version. Well, so does Retro Puppet Master. I think that's got SD inserts as well. And from what I understand, it wasn't so much because it's unrated. There's shots that they just couldn't find just randomly throughout those movies, and that they had to use SD inserts for. But I mean, fuck, who the hell watches anything of the Puppet Master movies after 5 anyway? I sure as shit don't. I did get them though, just for fun. The Blu-rays of Curse in retro and all that. I think I've got all the Blu-ray Puppet Master Blu-rays except for that pathetic one where they just cut scenes of previous movies together. Oh my god, Full Moon's just really been shit over the year. Has been known to being shit after the 90s. Austin says, I noticed the Dollman and Demonic Toys Blu-rays have a small defect in them. You'll notice the picture does this weird, yes, the wave thing. I talk about that in my review of the Dollman Blu-ray. This freaking wave thing. I think I'd put a loop of it, a loop of the wave on to show people, and it's See, some of the early Full Moon Blu-rays are I think I say it in some of my reviews of them that Full Moon Blu-rays are hit or miss. Sometimes, like with Puppet Master 2, 3, 4, and 5, they have really great images. The sound I don't think is ever necessarily good in Full Moon Blu-rays, and then sometimes they're freaking mono when they were stereo on home video originally, and it's just like, God, these people. You think people that are making this shit would be able to do it better than that. And then the Robot Wars Blu-ray looks amazing, but the sound's all shit. So you're really, whatchamacallit, full moon Blu-rays are, you know, what, I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. They can be shit, we'll put it that way. Will Powell says, never seen any of the Puppet Master movies. Am I missing much? I think the first one is a must see, to be honest. Anything beyond that, um, you can live without. But for me, the first five, if you really want to see like what Nate would regard as the best Puppet Master movies, see the first five. You can forget about anything after that. But the first one is the best in my opinion, and then it, you know, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think 4. I might want to say 4 is probably my second favorite Puppet Master. I saw that last winter, and that's pretty good. So I think the first one, and yeah, but if you can see the first 5, I would recommend the first 5. I mean, you got to see 2 for Torch and 3 for 6-shooter, so you might as well just see the first 5. But you're definitely not missing much after 5. That's just Laugh City after that. Austin Wilcott says, yeah, Puppet Master Legacy was the one I was trying to think of. That's the one where they basically just cut all the movies up until that point together, and it's like the best of movie. It's just a joke. I bought the DVD of that and was so fucking pissed off. Full Moon, turned into just a sack of shit outfit, after the 90s. Austin says most of Full Moon Blu-rays are good, but those two are just, damn. They won't even bother to fix it either, so we're stuck with it. Yeah, I've never gotten Tourist Trap Blu-ray and there's a second one that came out. I've never gotten either of them because I heard that the first Blu-ray is missing stuff. It's like, why the fuck would I buy this movie on Blu-ray if it's missing footage? It's just like I've got the DVD, so I'll just watch that. It's too bad because, like, whatchamacallit, Tourist Trap is one of the best movies, in my opinion, that Charles Band had anything to do with, and the Blu-rays of it, from what I hear, suck. Austin Wilcott agrees. The first 5 Puppet Masters are the only ones you need. And he also says 4 and 5 makes a great double feature. Yeah, that they did 4. They filmed 4 and 5 at the same time, so it's a continuing story with the same characters between 4 and 5. Will Powell says, "Okay, I'll give it a try." Austin Wilcott says, "Yeah, I think you'll like Will. I think you'll like the first, the first one especially. That was pretty good, and then the first 2, 3, 4, and 5 are kind of cool in their own rights." Austin Wilcott says, "Puppet Master Access Trilogy, better than Legacy and Retro, but it just isn't the same anymore." Exactly. Unfortunately I've got those as well, just for fun, and I probably watch them once and never again. Summerhill Cinemas here. Welcome. Puppet Master 1 through 4 are also my favorite. Yeah, you can almost, to be honest, the more I'm thinking about it, you can almost forget about 5, but the end showdown at the last minute of the movie or whatever is kind of cool. They try to make it as big as possible, but yeah, come to think of it, Summerhill, you might have a point there. Like 5 is almost, I don't know. The 4 is a lot better than 5, in my opinion. They made those both at the same time. Austin says there's going to be a subspecies 5. Yeah, that's what I hear. And, I would, Full Moon's washed up, in my opinion. Anything that they're going to do, you can just forget about it. Will Powell says Tourist Trap is great. Yeah, it's a really great, it's probably my favorite PG horror movie. It's, I love Tourist Trap, and I did a review of it years ago. It was really short. I should probably do a longer review of it. Oh, okay. Will Powell watched Tourist Trap after seeing my review of it. Very cool. Yeah, the music is so great. The atmosphere, the Tanya Roberts, the women in it. Oh my God. Matthew says the Wrong Turn remake trailer actually looked pretty decent. Yeah, I didn't. I looked at some of it and my sound was off. A lot of times I'll just look at new trailers with the sound off because it's less painful. and it, it looked okay. To be honest, I'm not. I don't know if I should go there, but I don't know if I'll go there. I guess I'm not keen on. I'm not going to go there. Austin Wilcutt says I have the Toulon Puppet Master trunk full moon put out Blu-ray. Oh yeah, the Toulon Puppet Master trunk full moon Blu-ray set they put out. Yeah, I hear that is kind of chintzy. Is that the case? Is it chintzy? It was a cool idea. I think I did a video promoting it when it was announced. Matthew says, same with the new Candyman remake. I hope they don't fuck them up. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with any new movies that are coming out, more or less. There's so much great movies that from the past decades that I haven't seen. I'm pretty much I just watch old movies that I never saw before from the 70s, 80s, or whatever. Will Powell says, I'm shocked about The Tourist Trap is PG. I wouldn't let a kid watch that. Yeah, it's really, really interesting movie that it's PG. And I think that they really fucked up with that rating. Like they should have put some tits in it or, like 10 fuck words, 10 swear words, fuck words in it to make it rated R. I think they really fucked up. I think the movie would have done a lot better if it was rated R because I can understand people not wanting to give a PG horror movie a shot. But to anyone who's listening to this either now or after the fact, if you haven't seen Tourist Trap and you like 70s horror movies like low budget, the same guy who did the production design for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre did it. It's a great movie and probably, as I keep on saying, one of the best movies that Charles Band has his name attached to. Matthew Haggerty says, he's talking to Will Powell. Powell, I guess kids use to be tougher back in the day. Yeah, exactly. Like, you probably PG Tourist Trap would probably make these kids that can be triggered by fucking waking up in the morning, going crying home to mama. Austin Wilcutt says Full Moon can't make good movies anymore and are only relying on their statue replicas and memorabilia to keep them afloat. I know I don't know. It seems like I just got an email from them about a puppet replica that's like $350 or something. I'm like, oh my god. I actually got some of the replicas way long ago, like 10 years ago or more. Back when they did I'm kind of ashamed to say I paid $100 for each one, but that's better than whatever the fuck they're charging now. I got them on their 50% off sale. So I've got Blade, Pinhead, and Tunneler. They're really pretty cool. I think they've since their replicas have since gone downhill or whatever, but I don't mind paying $100 for those. They're really cool. Just having them standing up against the wall, and it's just like they're really cool. I mean, when you're my generation and you grew up with the Puppet Master movies, I'm fine with spending that amount of money on each one. Summerhill Cinema 700 says kids should be a bit scared. It opens up your imagination. I am not talking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but you get my point. Yeah, Tourist Trap is more about, since it's PG, it's obviously not so much about on-screen violence. It's more about creepiness and, those animated possessed, I will say it definitely achieves that. The animated possessed mannequins and stuff with their big mouths that open up wide and go, whoa. I mean, it's stupid, but it's kind of creepy at the same time. Matthew Haggerty says all kids should watch Texas Chainsaw. I hope you're referring to the original. They need to know our reality. People need to stop coddling them. Yeah, this generation, the generations that are being coddled and pussified and shit, that's a bunch of crock of horse shit. I just watched, because of the way this last year's been and the world continues to be, I just gave a rewatch to Demolition Man, and oh my god, that's exactly, if no one's ever seen that movie, and I'm sure a lot of you have here, That's exactly where they want the world, basically. It's so fucking scary, that movie. When you compare it to when you compare it to the world's actually turning into it. Matthew Haggerty says, yeah, original only. Will Powell says, haha, this is probably very true about kids today. I watched American Werewolf in London when I was 10, but I loved it. Right, I think I saw that on TV for the first time when I was young as well, recorded it off TV. And I think for the exception of like the shower scene or whatever, like it was one of those late night showings where it was like viewer discretion is advised. So I don't think they even cut a whole lot out of it. Summerhill Cinema agrees 100%. Thank you very much. I don't know why I thanked you, but it's good to hear that, we've got some like-minded individuals here. Matthew Haggerty says Demolition Man is exactly what the fuck is happening. Yeah, we just rewatched that recently, and oh my God, there was this one scene where, and it's really subtle, right at the beginning after Stallone is thawed out, because no one touches each other in that movie. And, Stallone wakes up, shakes his hand and slaps him on the arm or whatever, and you can hear that actor's voice probably looped a very, very quiet, oh, germs. And it's just like, oh my God. And, the handshakes, and I kind of agree with the no handshake thing, because I think handshaking was always nasty, but, the way they handshake in that movie is, doing the hands and not touching, but swirl. I can't even describe it. But if you've seen the movie, you know what they do, and it's just like it's a world of no one touching and no one's having sex, and you need to have a license to have kids made, and the way people have sex is like through brain wave transference, and it's basically, watch that movie if you haven't seen it. That is the blueprint. Or that's their blueprint, or it's not the right word, but that's where they're showing you where they're taking the world, is what I'm trying to say. Matthews says you can't even say the word faggot around some people without them losing your minds. Exactly. That's kind of what I was going to say in regards to the trailer for the new Wrong Turn. So I don't know, maybe you guys can fill in the blanks with that. Right, and this whole thing, hate speech. Hate speech. Well, wait, isn't this a free country? What happened to free speech? Now everything can be labeled hate speech. Austin Wilcutt says King Kong 76 is getting a collector's edition soon. Yep, I mentioned that at the beginning. Very, very cool news. You're going to have 2 discs, 1 disc with theatrical and 1 disc with the apparently 3 hours or more long TV version. Is really crazy. I never knew it was that long. Summerhill Cinema 700 recently did a video about the news. Feel free to check that out sometime on his channel. Austin Wilcutt also says Demolition Man is George Orwell on steroids. Yeah, that's where they're showing you in that movie where they plan to take us, and we can see that that's happening, and it's just fucking pathetic. Will Powell says, personally, if I ever had kids, I'd probably introduce them to Jaws and Alien series first. I started getting into horror about 15 is when I could take it. Yeah, I was too pussy to get into horror until I was 11, and then I was just like, I couldn't hold on anymore. I had to get into it at 11, and it's been a lovely ride ever since. But yeah, I was a pussy in regards to horror movies until I was about 11, and I'm like, you know what? I'm old enough. I'm going to take it. It was really fun being 11 and watching horror movies. It's like, I'm too young. I'm not supposed to be watching this stuff. And it was kind of like rebelling, Matthew Haggerty says, if you don't like what someone says, walk away or don't read it. It's that simple. Exactly. That's the way the world should be. And now it's all about fucking banning speech and getting people to self-censor. I mean, I guess technically I did it earlier when I didn't talk about what I wanted to talk about regarding the trailer for the new Wrong Turn. So maybe, yeah. So it's all about just keeping people thinking only what they want people to think. Control people's minds at the end of the day. Yeah, this whole generation of being fucking insulted. I don't give a fuck if you're insulted. If I'm weirding you guys out, it's February and I'm in Minnesota. If my mood and demeanor is weirding you guys out, it's because it's probably not above 0 Fahrenheit here, and it's been shitty weather for the last week, and it's Minnesota and it's February, and this is the truth of what it does to you is in my voice. So I don't mean to freak anyone out, or I'm not mad at anyone here. I'm just pissed at the world. I'm grateful for everyone that's here and contributing. If I didn't say it, thank you very much for being here and contributing. Austin says, I think Demolition Man type world would collapse and would never work, though. I don't think so. They got it all planned out. That's their plan for us. So they're going to make it work. Austin says, you can't alter human nature into something it's not. I think they're doing a pretty good job of it. He also says people are going to be people. They're not controlling my mind. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Right. I mean, there's going to be a handful of people that the mind control is not going to work on. But I'd say if you go outside and look around at most people, you now, it's been almost a year now of being able to go outside and visually confirm whether or not people are brainwashed by simply looking at their face, if you know what I mean. Will Powell says, yeah, the world does scare me nowadays. I saw something on the news the other day about hair prejudice, how if you want to compliment a black person's hair, it can be considered offensive. Well, yeah, I mean, shit, everything. You might as well just consider everything offensive and be done with it. Yeah, the whole thing they're doing with the racial divide as of pretty much last May is such a fucking joke. Matthew asks, do I have any plans for the spring/summer? Yeah, getting the fuck outside and in the sun and getting dark. Matthew Haggerty asks, directs us towards Will Powell. Divide and conquer is all they're doing with everything from race, gender, country, etc., etc. Exactly. The people that run the world have two mottos: divide and conquer, and order out of chaos. Summerhill Cinema 700 says everything is offensive. If you have a different opinion, you're called a Nazi, or you speak hate speech. Matthew Haggerty says, I haven't gone out to a store in over a month. I'm so sick of this mask shit. Yep, I used to go to Half Price Books once a week to check out their clearance, as you guys know, clearance movies, DVDs, CDs, and stuff. Since they started mandating the muzzles, fuck Half Price. I saved a lot of money last year. I'll tell you that. Matthew says, I'll keep the chaos. Thank you. Chaos is natural order of this world. Exactly. Will Powell says, I used to watch movies, and if there was a black lead, I wouldn't even think about it. I would just judge the movie on its merits. Now they're trying to force it. Exactly. The same thing with women. We're talking about Aliens from the 80s, it was a badass, Ripley in the movie Aliens was a badass woman, but no one fucking really even thought about it. I mean, I'm sure there were some articles and shit written about it, but you could have in the 80s a badass woman, and it really wasn't even a big deal. Matthew Haggerty asks, are you working now? I guess I'll just say I've got things taken care of for the time being. I'm good for now, I guess will be my answer to that. How's about yourself? Summerhill Cinema 700 says, you will have to change your channel now to huge truth fanatics. Yeah, I don't want to. That's a good point. I think I'll play it safe and just leave it as is. I know it was just a joke and stuff, but exactly. Well, this channel is about, you know, I try to have this channel be more about, although, you know, the irony is, as long as we're talking about it, is what this channel is about is movies and talking movies and, you know, talking about our passion of movies. And if we really want to get technical and stuff, I mean, movies are part of the problem at the end of the day. So I'm kind of going along with their, you know, distracting by praising these movies and talking about these movies, which are just at the end of the day, I don't know, worthless. I mean, you know, they're works of art and they take, you know, effort and creativity and stuff to do. But at the other hand, movies are also part of the problem. So, but I try to keep this channel not so much about, we can do whatever we want in chat or, you know, these shows, these radio shows. But if you just, you know, when I'm doing the videos and stuff, I try to just stay on the movies. And you see, if you watch some of my reviews, you see me interject my viewpoints about things and world things and stuff into them. But it's kind of a conundrum because I guess in a way, I don't want to alienate people if they want to just hear about movies. I mean, we can talk about whatever on these live shows and stuff, but I don't know. It's, you know, yeah. Matthew says, oh, nice. You're getting them bleep bucks, referring to the government checks. Matthew Haggerty says, I'm not working, unemployed the way I like it. Ha, ha, ha. Well, that's definitely the way to go, as long as you can. Will Powell says, at least we've got old movies to return to. Might be an idea to buy as many physical copies as possible, as I can see them removing everything one day from streaming. Yeah, that's not PC. I'm assuming what he said, he's referring to his comment as being not politically correct. That's exactly what I've been doing is watching old movies and enjoying old movies from the 80s and stuff. And because in my opinion, for the most part of what's being put out now is crap. Plus, I don't even really like how these digitally shot movies look. It's just like, oh my God. You know, and that's another thing. How long are we going to keep calling these films if they're not shot on film? But I agree with Will Powell. I just pretty much watch old movies that I've never seen before. There's enough old movies out there to, you know, that we haven't seen to last the rest of our lives. So Summerhill Cinema 700 says, instead of focusing on a good story, filmmakers just focus on not offending people now. They want to be so careful not to offend people in a million different ways. Yeah, well, the people who run the world, you know, at the end of the day, run the film industry, and it's all connected. So they put all that pussification shit in movies now, and that's what I was talking about in regards to the, you know, earlier someone brought up the trailer for The New Wrong Turn. It's like, you know, there's some things in that trailer that I don't need to see personally. We'll just leave it at that, you know. And yeah, I mean, watching the most recent whatchamacallit over the last winter, in December watching, I knew it was shit before I saw it. I guess I didn't, so it's not like I didn't know it was going to be shit, but seeing the most recent Black Christmas, I was like, oh my God, they're weaponizing movies now to be brainwashing devices. I mean, I think to a certain extent they probably always were, but it's just so blatant now. It's like not even subliminal anymore. Matthew Haggerty says, where the fuck am I? At Will Powell, very true, or they'll censor out shit if they do keep the movies. That's definitely coming down the pipeline. Yeah, I remember them doing something like that on the streaming version of fucking Gone with the Wind last year, and it was just like, oh my God. It's such a joke. Yeah, see, that's the thing that's scary about streaming is they can change shit over time. Like, oh, okay, this happens, we got to change this. Okay, something else happened, we got to take this out. It's just that's what's scary about streaming is they can change anything at any time, or just take things away forever. You know, when everything's streaming, they've got all the control. It's such a joke. Matthew says the only thing we should censor out is the word wah, wah. I fully agree with censoring and not using that word, honestly. Yeah, I don't utter it. I see it way too much to want to actually vocally say it. Matthew also says, actually, the word beep and social fuck, I almost said it, and social beep triggers me deeply, so I'm going to tell these people to stop saying that word. It offends me. You know what I've actually thought of doing at stores is, you know how the trans, I don't really want to start talking too much about this, but what I thought about doing, and I don't think I'd do it myself because I don't like confrontation, is, okay, the trans culture is huge, right? If you want to be considered a man or a woman or a it or a they or whatever the fuck you want to be considered as, you know, people are obliged or forced to do it. So what occurred to me is, okay, what if I called myself a transgenerationalist or a transyearist? And as you walk into a store with nothing covering your face, and they say, "Oh, you got to cover your face," and it's like, "Oh, are you anti-trans?" I'm a transgenerationalist. I identify as someone who's living in 2018, so I don't have to. Are you a bigot? It's something that occurred to me, but I don't like confrontation, so I never would actually try it. Maybe some of you guys aren't as pussy as me and can try it out for me. But yeah, try that. If we're so embracing the trans culture and people's feelings, then try that and call them a hypocrite, or not a hypocrite, a hate speech. What did I say before? Bigot. A bigot. Don't you accept trans people? Aren't they welcome here? I'm a transgenerationalist. I identify as someone living in 2018. So I don't need to wear that shit. Are you a bigot? Isn't this an inclusive store? It's so funny how their bullshit only works for their agendas. Austin Wilcutt says, movies don't look natural anymore. Exactly. I don't even like the digitally shot movies. I mean, that Black Christmas, the most recent Black Christmas, looks like shit. Summerhill Cinema 700 says a good example of, okay, where's the chat? Okay, people, I'm behind in chat. A good example of absurd censorship is on the Looney Tunes Golden Collection box set. Whoopi Goldberg shows up before some of the episodes talking about how offensive they are. Yeah, I know, I got that a long time ago and was just like, that was a long time ago too. That was over 10 years ago when I got that. And they were even doing it then. Oh my God, what a fucking joke. Yeah, some of the later, because I got like the first 5, I think, collection of those. And later on, they just don't even bother paying Whoopi. They just have it in print. You know, the same thing shows up in print. These cartoons are a product of their time, and you know, they represent the time. And Austin Wilcutt agrees with Matthew Haggerty. It's propaganda. Jose Gomez says, sad world. Indeed. Summerhill Cinema 700 says some movies also have hidden messages behind them, like Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut about the dark side of Hollywood. Exactly. I mean, I'd say majority of movies have hidden messages in them. It's just like now, it's like I say, I don't know, it's just less and less hidden. Matthew says, didn't they take out Trump and shit, I said that word, fuck. Didn't they take out that guy in Home Alone 2? Yeah, I heard about something like that, possibly. Yeah. It's just a joke. Austin Wilcutt says streaming is about controlling content, nothing more. I highly agree. You know, it's like, oh, it's so easy and convenient. Well, we can also just fucking control everything that way. Man, this is this is a deep show. That's okay. Stuff needs to be said. Will Powell says, when I was a kid, I got a little bullied and made me stronger. It's all character building. Kids must be messed up these days. There's no respect, discipline, just ignorant brats. Yeah, and they all want to be the opposite sex that they were born as. Which, by the way, oh shit, I don't know if I don't want to get a strike on the channel. Austin Wilcutt says, I have Home Alone 2 on Blu-ray, and Trump is still in it. I think whoever said that, I think was referring to maybe the streaming version of Home Alone 2. Like maybe, I don't know, it was brought up at one point about taking the former president out of it. I don't know if it ever happened or whatever. Matthew Haggerty, says this to Will Powell, kids are bratty, spoiled cunts like their parents. Summerhill Cinema says, ha, 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 ha. I'm way behind on chat. I think Matthew Haggerty is responding to my thing about being transgenerationalist. Yeah, try it. I'm too pussy to do it, to be honest. I don't like confrontation. But yeah, I'm a transgenerationalist. I'm living in... See, the thing is, you can't go too far back because then they'll say, well, then you don't, have a credit card, or we don't take cash, so just maybe go back to 2018 or something. I'm a transgenerationalist. I identify as someone living in 2018. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it works out. Matthew says, I never wear that mask above my nose. It's always below my nose. Yeah, I don't think I've ever mentioned what I do. I've got when I go to a store once a week or once every other week, I do the fucking bandana, and that fucking thing is dangling underneath my nose, and I breathe. I've never had anyone say anything, actually, except Half Price Books, and that's the last time we'll ever go there. They said, pull that above your fucking... They didn't say fucking. Pull that above your face, sir. And I walked the fuck out. I'm done. I don't need to be fucking told to cover my fucking face at a store. You think I'm going to fucking give you money? So I do the fucking bandana, and it's dangling beneath my nose. So, in case anyone wonders, Matthew also said I had some middle-aged cunt working at Best Buy tell me to put my mask above my nose, and I was enraged. I said, no, this is bullshit. She scurried off like a rat right after. I don't doubt it. I've never had, I don't know if that was an employee or just some, oh, okay, you said working at Best Buy, yeah. I've been told at a couple stores. One bitch who said it, I've said back to her really fucking sarcastically, thanks so much, like in that tone. And she knew I was fucking pissed. Austin Wilcutt says, luckily there's no mask mandate where I live. Well, where the fuck are you living? How do I get to the moon? You're very fucking lucky. But I guess one good thing about it is it keeps me from spending money. Because I used to go to Half Price Books once a week and waste money on movies to add to a pile that I'd never watched. So my movie piles aren't growing anyway. Matthew says, at Austin, he's saying this to Austin, I live in PA, which is blue liberal shithole state, so it's been mandated, and these losers all buy into this shit because their liberal masters tell them to. Will Powell, yeah, I'm way behind on the chat here. Will Powell says, my opinion on the whole trans thing is if they want to dress up like a man or a woman, then they have every right to free country, but stop going on about it. Laugh out loud. They expect the world to change too. And the thing that I hate is if someone wants to be called a they or them or whatever the fuck, then it's like we have to. Or if someone if a man who wants to be called a woman wants to be called a woman or she, I'll tell you what, if a man was born a man, he's a he. Fucking, I don't give a fuck what the hell he wants to be. He's going to be called a he, but shit. Like I say, I don't want to get a strike on the channel, but this is all goes back to the self-censorship and the fucking world they got us in to. I just want to make sure I don't miss a comment. I missed some last week. If I don't read your comment, it's just because I missed it, you know. And then there's videos on YouTube about YouTubes of these teenagers or young 20-somethings who, you know, girls that tried to be boys and, you know, their voices are all low and shit and they want to be girls again and then they've got boy voices. Pardon me. It's just like, oh my God. And we thought our fucking childhood was fucked up. Matthew says it's hard to escape into movies, games, anything these days when our world is beyond fucked. Yeah, that's exactly why I'm not really into movies, current movies now, because all these things they're pushing in the movies now, at least older movies, the shit, if it's in there, it's much more subdued. Austin says the mask thing is about control. It's bullshit, right on, 100% agreed. This is a completely different show than all the shows prior, so this is kind of cool. I think it's stuff we've all wanted to say, but just haven't. Matthew says at Austin, and all those losers getting off on telling people to put the mask on. Summerhill Cinema says, my problem is that you never hear anything about how important sunlight, fresh air, and nutritious food is. Yeah, they're all talking about solving the problem by injecting you with fucking poison. That's, you know, Matthew asked earlier what my plan for the spring and summer is. That was part of it. I'm going to fucking sit in the sun because my philosophy is pretty much this, and it's really simple. If the media says something's bad for you, do it. If they say something's good for you, don't do it. The way you can know if something's truly good for you or bad for you is how they say it is in the media. If the media says stay out of the sun, that's probably one of the best things you can do. Unfortunately, I know there's people with light skin complexions and stuff that get burned and stuff, but I can't speak for what it's like to have a lighter complexion that gets burned easy in the sun. But yeah, that's what came to mind when Matt asked what I'm going to do this spring and summer. I'm going to get into the sun and sit, not just sit, but, you know, sit and do things in the sun. Very, 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 very huge, amazing point, Summerhill Cinema, with that, with that comment. That's a very great comment. You know, they want you to put 2, 3, 4, 5 fucking layers over your air intake. That's what they recommend. And get this poison shot up your fucking, you know, not up your asshole. Well, maybe not yet, but and get the chemicals, you know, spray your house down with fucking chemicals. That's healthy. Stay out of the sun, stay inside. Oh, fuck. Will Powell says basically they are worried about how people see them. Peace lies within, so changing sex isn't probably going to solve everything. You still need to go to work for your shit. Doesn't mean you get a free ride. Austin says, I live in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and they had a town meeting about it, and they said no to it. Well, goddamn, let's all fucking moved to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. That's amazing. I didn't know that there was places that were doing that. That's fucking amazing. I mean, did they say no from the beginning, or did they just say no recently, or how did that work? That's really encouraging. I know it's probably not happening very much around as much as it should. That's really encouraging. Will Powell said, remember back in the 90s playing Sega Mega Drive and then watching Jurassic Park on video, then going out to play. Happy days, missed them. Exactly. Will Powell's like, I don't know, he's like, and he's 14 years younger than I am, I think, and even he misses things how they used to be. So you can only imagine how I feel about it, and people older than me, and oh my God. Matthew says at Will Powell, those were the days. Exactly. One of the most pathetic things, it's one of the most pathetic sights last spring when I was just getting out onto the bike trails and shit, was how they roped off fucking playgrounds with, like police tape. And it was one of the most pathetic sights I've ever seen, where they were, telling kids they couldn't play on the playground outdoors. Austin Wilcutt says, do you think we'll ever get a Beetlejuice 2? I can't, I mean, back to movies. Yeah, I don't think we've been talking about movies for the last 40 minutes. What? That's such a weird comment on a movie channel. Back to movies for a moment, everyone. I don't know. What do you think? I just recently, last year, saw Beetlejuice again for the first time in a long time, and I'm not a big fan of it looking at it as an adult. I liked it more when I was a kid, but watching it as an adult, I was like, God, these people die at the beginning of the movie and they're dead. It's a sad fucking movie. Summerhill Cinema says, do kids play outside anymore? Exactly. I'm behind in this chat here, but, I recently just talked about the pathetic sight of the closed playgrounds last spring. Last summer we went to the beach. The beach was like the only place of normality, and it was business as usual at the beach last summer. That was no muzzles, none of that shit. So at least the one I was at. So that was nice to see in answering to the question. Matthew says to Summerhill, I saw a few, but they were wearing masks. Fuck. Yeah, at the beach last summer, no one, it looked like 2019 at the beach last summer, where that was very nice. I'd say, yeah, the beach this year will probably see some fucking muzzles, maybe double, triple, quadrupled up by the time beach weather shows up. It'll be fucking fun. Matthew says, they said an anal test is more accurate for, he put the beep in for me. Thank you very much for diagnosing. Wah, wah. Yeah, exactly. Here's a question. If we got to cover our nose and mouth to keep this deadly shit in, why can't we, you should be able to go and just breathe onto something to do a test. You shouldn't have something shoved up your nose or up your ass. If what we're exhaling is so deadly, you should be able to go like this for a test. Not that anyone with the brain should need to go get a test for anything that was previously existed as a cold or flu symptoms. Fuck, I don't want to get this strike on the channel for this particular radio show, but I don't know, hopefully my channel's small enough where it won't be an issue. Hey, just dear big tech, I'm just kidding. Everything I'm saying, I'm just kidding. Summerhill says, oh no, ha ha ha. I think probably regarding the anal test. Matthew says, So you will start seeing people literally bending over to get fucked for their government and corporate masters. Yeah, you want to go to a football game, which I don't know why anyone would fucking want to do that in the first place. Bend over. Austin Wilcutt says, yes, no from the beginning. Oh, in regards to the no mask. Well, that is fucking amazing. Fuck, where am I? Okay, he says it's like nothing is happening over here. Well, count yourself lucky. You are very fucking lucky. Wow. I just hope that lasts for you. Austin also says, and nothing is happening exactly. That's exactly it. Fuck, I feel like I don't know how much I can safely say and not jeopardize the channel, but Matthew Haggerty says someone should have ripped that police tape down. I hear you. Austin says, I hope Disney doesn't vault all the Fox titles. Yeah, I know. It'd be nice to get things like True Lies and The Abyss on Blu-ray. I know that there's some fucking, Spanish. I looked into it more. It's like basically a bootleg, Spanish bootleg Blu-ray. I'm not interested in that. But yeah, it'd be nice to have. God damn, that's really sad to think about. I mean, how scary would it be for Disney to end up owning all movies and then vault them all? And but luckily to us, a lot of us people here like 80s schlock horror crap. So I don't think Disney hopefully will ever control any of that stuff. Austin Wilcutt says, oh, okay, I already read that. Matthew says Beetlejuice 2 will have a transgender Chinese woman, so that'll be your new Beetlejuice. Yeah, probably. Will Powell says the world has slowly been changing since 9/11. We used to have a sense of humor. Sure, we got offended, but we'd bounce back the next day. Everything has really become nasty and bitter. Yep, it's all by design, everyone. Matthew says, Dear Leader Gates, please have mercy on my soul. Don't quite get it, but that's okay. He also says 9/11 was the beginning of the end. It's been a slow burn ever since. Agreed. Austin says Matthew Haggerty, they're wanting to put us into a very controlled communistic society. New World Order agenda. Looks like Matthew asks me, have you ever considered doing your live streams on a platform that doesn't censor? You could put out a live stream on your YouTube video with a link to the website that live streams. Yeah, I haven't. Well, normally, this is the first week we've really gotten into this kind of stuff, so I haven't been afraid of it. So it never occurred to me, but it's something to think about. Summerhill Cinema says, stay away from my chud, Disney, and referring to the movie Chud. Yeah, I can honestly say we should be safe. I don't think Disney will end up owning Chud, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. I just watched that the other day again. Chud. The Blu-ray looks great. The Arrow Video Blu-ray looks great, and yeah, I saw that for the first time when I was 11 and on TV, and Chud was an instant classic to me. Great comment there, Summerhill. Stay away from Chud. I love how he says my Chud. It's my Chud. Oh, in regards to your purchase, buying of the Laserdisc, what made you want to get Chud on Laserdisc? Just because you like Chud and you just thought it would be cool to have on Laserdisc, Summerhill? Matthew says Disney just fired that Star Wars chick because she said something they didn't like on Twitter. What a commie utopia we live in. Well, I contend that all of that kind of shit that goes on, and with all these supposed bigwigs in Hollywood and all this and that, is just it's just it's just as much of a show as the movies they make is, in my opinion. But that's just my 2 cents. Will Powell says, "Screw Disney. I liked it when the edgiest thing they did was Cool Runnings." Exactly. Summerhill Cinema says it's my second favorite horror movie of all time. I'm trying to collect anything and everything Chud. Yeah, that's completely understandable. I got for like Slumber Party Massacre, I got the LP record, I've got the poster. There's not a whole lot to collect with that movie, but years and years and years ago, I was all, I think it was around the time the first Blu-ray came out of Slumber Party Massacre. That's one of my favorite slashers, and I was doing the same thing. It's like, oh, I want I've already had the VHS, so I wanted the vinyl LP, I wanted the poster, so I got that stuff. So I understand that. Like, if you really like a movie, you just want to get all things of that movie. So here's a question. Do you have the VHS, like the original media VHS, or later on they put out a crappy LP version? The Video Treasures put out a LP version of Chud VHS as well. Matthew says, "Do you have a decent laptop, Nate?" No, I do not. And I think my internet, compared to what most people have, is pretty slow shit too. So in regards to doing, streaming on something else or whatever, I mean, I don't know. I don't think our normal conversations moving forward, I mean, we'll be this racy, so maybe we don't have to worry about it. I don't know. Yeah. I can't even believe that with my internet and this laptop that I can even live stream at all. So, I mean, I think I can pretty much forget about like live streaming on multiple platforms at once. Will Powell says, "I'm British." Oh, here, let me do this. "I'm British. It's our way to take the piss out of friends and have a laugh. We always knew the line. We've got the news telling us where the line is. Fuck 'em." That was my best British I could do at the moment, Will. Hope I didn't offend you. Yeah, right. When you're a kid and a teenager and shit, you say offensive things to each other because you're a kid and a teenager and shit. Well, okay, so Summerhill, do we know your first favorite horror movie then? Is it the original It? I was trying to think right now. Is your favorite horror movie the original It? If not, we'd like to know, or I would. I guess I can't speak. Will Powell says, "I'm so triggered right now after that, Nate. Oh no. Go get some counseling, mate." I gotta tell you, I was feeling low, a lot lower before I started this show. So thanks a lot, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up, because you might have noticed that suicidal tone of voice of mine, I think, has kind of faded away. So thank you, everyone, for showing up. This is good. I think this is what we all need. Summerhill says, "Yeah, what I would like most, though, would be an original prop from the film." Oh, okay. I have the Star Maker VHS from '93. I also have the Chud photo signed by a Chud photo signed by Daniel Stern. Well, that's cool. Yeah, something might be to get the original media VHS of Chud. I can't remember if I've got that or not, but yeah, that Star Maker VHS is a bummer. That's in. If anyone's seen the movie Us that came out recently, they intentionally put that next to the TV, the Chud VHS, and I think I mentioned this in my review of the film Us. That Chud, that particular VHS didn't come out until after that particular scene in the movie took place, so that was actually a fuck up. But they wouldn't. No one would know that except for us Chud fans. That's cool. It's fun to to have like favorite movies and want to collect anything and everything of that movie. I remember that now, like thinking about like Friday the 13th and Slumber Party Massacre and stuff when I was eBaying for lobby cards, posters, LP records and stuff. That's a fun little hobby to pass the winter. Austin says I watched Dollman versus Demonic Toys recently. Very funny film. Yeah, that is pretty funny, isn't it? That's a way to describe it. Matthew says cancel Nate. He triggered us. Yes, cancel me. Summerhill says the original It would probably have to be my number 3, but my number 1 would be the original Halloween. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I was a big fan of the original Halloween when I was a kid, big time. I still love it, but it's dropped in the ranks if I had ranks, which I really don't have ranks anymore. But that's very cool. So, okay, along those lines, do you have any interest to get a Laserdisc or original tape or anything for Halloween, seeing as how that's your favorite? Not that you need to have. Yeah. Austin says, do you prefer the Alien films on Blu-ray? I mean, they probably look the best on Blu-ray. I mean, I guess if I watch them as recently I watched the Blu-rays, if that answers the question. One thing that's really cool about the very first, I don't know if this was the first time the Aliens movies were on DVD. There might have been. Was this DVD a four-pack collection of the first 4 movies? And what's really cool about, I don't know if they ever put it out on any other DVD of the first movie, but on the DVD of the first movie, you have the ability to select an audio track option of the original production audio. Is really, really interesting to watch the movie with the actual audio of the set, before they, took things away and added the actual final sound effects. Like, look at the scene where Dallas is going in and putting his little thing into that one thing and clicking the thing and opening this and that to get in that room towards the beginning of the movie. Oh, well, shit, it's not like you guys might even not have access to that, but it's so funny listening to that scene with the original production audio, because the actual stuff on set sounds so boring. It's like click, and then the door opening up is just this wooden door sliding sound. It's so cool. It's probably the first DVD of the Alien movies, but it was a 4-pack collection. And like I say, I want to say it might be the first time that the Alien movies are on DVD. I'm talking DVD, not Blu-ray. I think they came out in '99, I want to say. Same year as the collection for Nightmare on Elm Street. But if anyone can get a hold of that, or maybe find it on YouTube, where it's like Alien with the production audio, it's so funny. And what's so funny is the original audio, when Parker bashes Ash to shit, the original line he was saying was, "It's a droid, it's a droid," and because in the final movie, he's a robot. Ash is a goddamn robot, and the original audio is he's a droid. And I don't know if they could use the word droid, because wasn't that like a Star Wars term or something? But you have to, anyone who loves the original Alien movie has to, oh my God. Yeah, I don't know if that audio feature was ever put on another release of that movie. Hopefully someone put, the movie or clips of that on YouTube because it's so fun to watch. But I'm so behind now in the chat because I've been talking for the last 5 minutes. Will Powell says, it shows a lot of people are thinking on the same page as you, Nate. If we keep talking things through so we don't feel alone, it'll be okay, mate. Shit, I forgot about the accent. That's okay. Well, thank you very much for that thought there, Will. I appreciate it. Matthew says the new Halloween could have been so much better. They had to fuck it up with the cringy ass comedy that wasn't funny at all. And yeah, let's not forget about that pathetic little subtle detail of having the characters dressing up as Bonnie and Clyde, wink wink. What a fucking joke. Austin says, have you seen Nomads with Pierce Brosnan? No, I haven't. I know the cover though. I can think of the title or the cover when you mentioned that. No, I haven't. Summerhill would like to, referring probably to collecting more memorabilia, Halloween and stuff like that, but I'm running out of space. I hear you there. I stopped buying, a lot of shit for the same reasons, and at the end of the day, the shit's all just shit. I mean, it's fun to collect, but at the end of the day, it is just shit. I don't mean to offend anyone, but I can say that about my shit too. It's shit. The stuff that I collect or have collected, and LPs and posters and lobby cards. It's fun, but it's also at the end of the day, it's shit, just junk. And it's right now, it's currently just piled in piles, or I guess if it's a certain poster, it's hanging on the wall. But yeah. Austin says, have you ever read any of the Aliens Predator EU comics that Dark Horse Comics put out in the 90s? I think you asked this last week when you arrived late. I'm not into comics at all. I'm much more of a movie guy. I like seeing things move and sound. Comics are just boring to me. Comics and books and reading and shit. So the answer to that is no, I'm afraid not. I tried to get into comics like in the early 90s because all my friends were, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, I liked the drawings and stuff, but I barely read any of them and shit. So I'm afraid I'm not a comics guy. Matthew asks, do you play video games? Yeah, about the only thing I really like to play is, my PS2 gets the most usage. And what I really like the most are games that have a compilation of old games from the 80s and stuff. So those are my favorite. Like, I don't know. I can't really think of anything in particular, but there's several PS2 games that have compilations of old 80s games and stuff. Those are the funnest for me. Last week, I think when Austin showed up late, I don't know if it was him or someone brought up the game because we were talking about the Alien franchise, and someone brought up the game Alien. Probably the most recent game I've played, and I played all the way through because I loved it, was Alien Isolation, because I'm a huge fan of the first movie, and that video game was such an amazing job at creating the feel of the first movie. So that's probably the most recent video game that I've played. But for the most part, I like playing the PS2 game collections of retro video games. Austin says, is that original production audio of Alien on the Blu-ray? I don't think it's on the Blu-ray. And then he says, I do have the original DVD of Alien, though. Yeah, see, my question would be, I mean, how original is it? You might want to look and see if that audio is on your DVD, because I'm pretty sure, I can't be sure for sure, but the DVD I'm talking about is probably the very first DVD release of Alien, and I think they all came out in a 4 collection box set. I think you had to get all 4 movies. Will Powell says Halloween 1978 is where it's at. and Halloween 3, of course. Well, yeah, I like the original Halloween 2, not as much as I used to when I was a kid. When I watch it as an adult, I'm almost like, because I thought Halloween 2 was the greatest when I was a kid, and when I watch it as an adult, I'm like, what did I like about this? The main star is comatose the whole movie. So Halloween 2 is one of the best examples for me of me loving and worshiping a movie when I was 12. And then like 10 years later, I was like, what the fuck did I love about this movie? I think Halloween 2, out of all movies I can think of, was the biggest, the biggest change from me, loving a movie at one point in my life to being like, oh my God, there's like nothing going on here. Summerhill Cinema says it's true, at least with movies, you can watch them. Memorabilia just sits and collects dust. Exactly. To anyone who might, want to diss on our passion of movies and shit, that's one thing that I would say is that, movies, they do kind of do something. they have, moving image and sound and stuff. So that's a very good point. Summerhill's got a lot of great contributions this week. Not that you don't always, but I mean, it's just like really good points this week. And then he says, still looks cool though. Exactly. I mean, it's trash at the end of the day and junk and just things, but it's still cool. His Chud Laserdisc is still cool, and my Slumber Party Massacre poster is still cool, even if it is just junk. Austin says, have you ever played Alien Isolation or Colonial Marines? Yeah, the chat must be behind. Yeah, I just talked about, you probably already heard it. I think me just praising Alien Isolation. I never did Colonial Marines because I'm not as big of a fan of Aliens as I am of the Alien. So I can only assume Colonial Marines captures the feeling of Aliens, much like Alien Isolation captures the feeling of the first Alien. I think this is Wade Wilson's first comment, Clock Tower 3, and I'm going to pronounce it correctly this week. Illbleed are great horror games. Summerhill Cinema says my favorite Alien game is Alien Trilogy for PS1. That's cool. Can't say I'm familiar with it. Matthew says, to me, there were quite a few good horror games from the PS1/PS4 era. Yeah, the oldest PlayStation I have is 2, and then I've got an Xbox 360. That's the 360 is the most current game system I have, and I'm probably not going to go any more current than that because I mean, I don't even see, besides the Friday 13th game, which I wouldn't want to play because from what I understand, it's online only. There's nothing else in games that they're making now that I have any interest in. So why would I have a newer console? There's not even much for 360 that I even like. At the end of the day, I just liked my PS2 games with old 80s video games on them. Austin has Alien Trilogy on PS1 as well. Very cool. He also says those Alien DVDs were sold separately from the Legacy collection as well. They have the THX logo on the cover. That very well might be the same one then, because, yeah, I think it was the Legacy collection and it has THX logo on the cover. So with any luck, if you've got the first one from that, you've got original production audio. It is so fun to watch that and to hear how boring the original sound was. And when they're landing on the planet and shit, you can hear the motors on set really that are vibrating everything. It's so loud and just annoying. It's like, and these poor actors are trying to do dialogue. I mean, they know it's going to be replaced, but how annoying to be on that set in that scene, trying to remember and deliver dialogue over the noise of the whatever motors and shit they have to vibrate the set for that scene. Yeah, you got to check out. I'm sure, hopefully that DVD has the original production audio that you've got. It's so funny. And you know how the space doors and stuff sound so cool in the finished movie. If they open, it's like, and on the production audio, it's just this. It sounds all the doors sound wooden, probably because they are, and it sounds so dumb. It's so funny. Matthew says John Carpenter didn't want to make Halloween 2, and he said he had to drink a lot to get through with making it. Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, it plays like a movie he didn't want to write. I mean, from what I understand, Deborah Hill and John Carpenter wrote it, but yeah, he was forced to make it. I mean, it shows when you look at it through adults' eyes. It's just like, okay, you want Halloween 2? You're making me write it? Okay, I'll have the main star just in a hospital bed, asleep the whole movie. Fuck you. That's what that's what he was thinking. Wade Wilson says Halloween 2 has different versions of it, edited differently. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know, because I got the Scream Factory DVD or Blu-ray of it, and it's got the TV version on there, and it's like completely, really fucking weird. Will Powell says, "Am I British? Am I British or Australian, Nate?" Yeah, I know. You identify as both. Austin Wilcutt says, I'll never understand why John Carpenter hates Halloween 2 so much. It's the best sequel, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I'd say Halloween 2 is my second favorite Halloween movie. I mean, we're talking originals, of course, as well. I mean, as much as I think it's kind of stupid on one aspect, I do think it's the best sequel to a Michael Myers Halloween. But then I also love Halloween 3 because of what it does. And once again, not to get back into the topic, but Halloween 3 there's a lot of truth there. And not to get back into the dark topic, but there's a lot of, that's why I respect Halloween 3 more and more, because there's a whole bunch of truth. They're putting it right, that speech by the main evil guy is basically them, there's a lot of truth in Halloween 3 in regards to media and destroying kids, maybe not killing them, but anyway, I don't want to, maybe we shouldn't get back into it, but that's one thing I like more and more about Halloween 3 as the years go on. Will Powell says, I like Halloween 2. I like the atmosphere. Yeah, as much as I'm trashing on things about Halloween 2, I like it as well. A big part of it is because I saw it and worshipped it when I was 12, and part of that can never, always sticks with you, even as much as your adult thinking mind goes, this is kind of dumb. But I agree. I mean, it's both dumb, but it's fun at the same time in regards to Halloween 2. Austin says, Aliens Colonial Marines is a hard-ass game and difficult to get through. Yeah, I'm not what I wouldn't call myself a gamer by any stretch, and I actually was able to defeat Alien Isolation. I was actually surprised, and I had to make sure I defeated it. I'm like, did I defeat this? I think I did. But, yeah, so... God, that anyone who hasn't played Alien Isolation, holy shit, those robots, that are walking around with those glowy eyes, that was some scary shit. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm so behind in the chat. People, maybe take a break from writing maybe or something. Oh, let's see here. Where am I? Matthew says, at Austin, John Carpenter never wanted to make a horror movie to begin with. He wanted to make a Western movie, so Halloween was just something he made because he kind of had to. Yeah, I mean, his first movie, which I rewatched recently within the past few weeks, Assault on Precinct 13, was definitely probably more up his alley. It was like his LA-based Western, or his new age Western. Austin says work prints are a great way to hear original production audio. That's true. But then you got to deal with, I don't know, that crappy work print look to it. He also says The Return of the Living Dead is so different without the soundtrack and the work print. Isn't it something how movies, are so much different before the final sound is added to them? It's almost hard to believe, like how they can even. Yeah, that is interesting. Austin also says, I guess he asks Matthew Haggerty, well, horror was where it was at in 1978. Wait. Well, horror was where it was at in 1978. Laugh out loud. I'm glad he embraced his horror icon status later on. Matthew says, I think John Carpenter's Vampires was one of his best movies, and it seems like hold on, let me scroll this down. Matthew says, I think John Carpenter's Vampires was one of his best movies, and it seems like he really shines in it because it's more of like a Western movie, which is what he always wanted to make. Yeah, I didn't like, I've talked about this in several shows or in a show past or whatever, that I'm not too keen on John Carpenter past pretty much early 80s, but I have to agree with Vampires. It's really too bad that movie couldn't have been his last movie, because that would have been such a great last movie, because in my opinion, I think it's, definitely probably one of his best movies after the early 80s. And it would have been so cool if he could have went out on Vampires, but then he had to make the movie which nobody saw, Ghosts of Mars, and then if that wasn't bad, he had to end it with, what the hell was it called? The Ward, which at least has some good-looking women to look at. Matthew says to Austin, he kind of had to laugh out loud. It's what made him famous in millions. Matthew says he seems like a guy that was really good at making horror movies, but he never had a passion for the genre he was really good at making. Interesting point. Wade Wilson says, I own Halloween on Laserdisc, and it's a pretty nice widescreen release. What I don't like about Halloween is the goofy face on one of the female actors make. I think it's the two girls that get killed. Which one exactly? Which goofy face in which girl makes a goofy face? Is it the Criterion Laserdisc? I would have thought that would have been the only one of Laserdisc on Halloween. Jesus, I'm dyslexic. That would have been widescreen. Was it the Criterion one you're referring to? And which girl do you think makes a goofy face? Austin says, I hate the robots in... yeah. And Joe's in the Alien Isolation. Yeah. Now the Joes, what are the Joes again? Yeah, the robots were fucking scary. And they come right at you. Aren't their eyes glowing? And it's just like, oh my God, get away. The Joes. Are those just like humans that are... I can't remember what the Joes are. Will Powell's got to go. Nate, all the best, my friend. If you're still here and listening, thank you very much for joining. See you next time. Wade Wilson says, I think both of them. And then he says, I mistyped that. Jose Gomez says, John Carpenter, Body Bags, 1993. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. So, I mean, I can't, I haven't seen everything John Carpenter. So, I mean, I can't ultimately say that nothing he's done since the early 80s is crap. But I guess the majority of what I've seen after early 80s, I don't really like that well. But that doesn't mean that he hasn't done something good that I haven't seen. So, yeah, so Wade Wilson says it is the Criterion one. Yeah, that's a hell of even now that fucking thing looks good. I showcased the Criterion Laserdisc of Halloween last year, as you guys may know. Austin Wilcutt says the Joes were the human characters trying to kill you. Okay, yeah. Ugh. Austin says Body Bags is awesome. I don't doubt it. Just watched They Live Again recently. And once again, just like seeing, not that I really want to bring this up again, but if I can briefly say, just like watching Demolition Man post 2020, oh my God, That's another one of those. But the main thing I wanted to mention about it is John Carpenter's music for They Live I find to be extremely boring. And if that offends anyone here, sorry. But it's just my take. It's like so boring, his music in They Live. Austin says cigarette burns from season 1 of Masters of Horror is a great Carpenter story as well. Okay, thank you very much for the recommendation. I don't know who the hell was it who wanted me to watch Legend, because I don't want to talk about it if that person's not here, because I watched Legend. So someone last week brought up Legend and wants me to see Legend. By the way, if you guys are, I caught up on chat if you guys want to say stuff in the chat. It's up to you. I'm caught up on it. Austin Wilcutt says Legend with Tom Cruise. Yeah, someone last week, maybe it was C-Snap or Versimilitude 86 or something. Maybe it was someone who's not here now who wanted me to see Legend. I never saw it, but I had the DVD sitting in a pile, so I said I'd see it, and I did. And I figured there's no point to talk about it until. I'm surprised C-Snap ain't here. Let's see, I'm trying to remember where the hell he lives. Oh, he's in Ireland. Okay. And then another one from UK didn't show up today, Gary Page, but that's okay. Yeah. So I was asked to see, or recommended to see Legend last week, and I dug out my DVD, and yeah, he says there's 2 cuts of Legend. The DVD I got for $3, previously viewed at Half Price Books, is like I don't think, you know what, the release I don't even think it just had the director's cut. So, but it's missing a disc. It's probably missing the special features, but I think the only version that came out on that particular release was extended. And I knew there were 2 cuts because I was going to watch the shorter one, because I looked at screenshots of the movie and I'm like, oh my God, this is so not my thing. So I was going to cut myself a break, and I was going to watch the theatrical version. And it turned out the only version I had was the director's cut, so I had to sit through that whole thing. Matthew said Edge of Tomorrow was really good Tom Cruise movie. I agree. I think Edge of Tomorrow was fucking great and funny. One thing I didn't like about the movie was parodying, like, shooting yourself in the head and killing yourself. That was the one fucking creepy thing about the movie, and I'm sure it's there on purpose. That's the one thing, thinking about that movie again, that I didn't like about that movie. But besides that, in the era of fucking YouTube challenges and shit, I can just see, a suicide challenge. I mean, it's just, that's the one thing I don't like about it. But beyond that, I do agree. Edge of Tomorrow is pretty fun. Austin says the theatrical cut has the Tangerine Dream score, referring to Legend. Yeah, I just saw the director's one, and there was a cue from Psycho 2, Jerry Goldsmith's Psycho 2 cue in that soundtrack and the score. I'm like, okay, that's Psycho 2 music, but whatever. I guess Jerry Goldsmith did that too. Well, I don't. I guess I might as well just say, since the chat is really slowing down, that I don't think the person who was interested is here, but who recommended me to see it. But I didn't like Legend at all. I don't like movies like that with elves and genies and shit. I just forced myself to watch it. I'm furthest away from the fans of, like, Lord of the Rings and elves and genies and this kind of shit that you could get. I don't like that shit at all. The only thing that was decent about the movie was the Jerry Goldsmith music, and whatever her name was fun to look at. Not as an emo fucking bitch, but the Mia Sarah or whatever the hell her name is was fun to look at when she was in it. But and I guess yeah, Tim Curry or whatever was good, but the whole premise of that, exactly. let me just catch up here. Austin says a theatrical cut. Oh, okay. Austin says that there's a Clarice Starling TV series coming out on CBS. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that universe of whatchamacallit. Thank you for mentioning it, though, but I'm not a big... Well, I can't think of the fucking movie. Silence of the Lambs fan. Austin says Legend is more for Lord of the Rings type fans. Exactly. That's what I just said, compared the movie to. I don't like that shit at all. Matthew says, do you like Terminator 2? Yes, I do. It's, one of the better sequels in my opinion. I saw Terminator 2 in the theater opening day, July 3rd, 1991. Thank you very much. The ad was, this year the fireworks begin on July 3rd. Austin says, I like emo Sarah as well. That's cool. I'm not saying just because I don't like things, you guys shouldn't, but I'm not into that look personally, but that's cool. Austin says he saw Terminator 3 in the theater. I saw it at the drive-in, Terminator 3 as well. And oh boy. Terminator 3 to me was just, coming from the generation I am, it's just one of the most sorry-ass sequels ever. Like, to make a sequel, to have someone who's not James Cameron to make a sequel to Terminator 2 just seemed like such a pointless endeavor. Like the sequel to 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's like, okay, well, have fun with that. Have fun failing. But, little would we know that it would get a lot worse than T3 in the not too distant future. Jose Gomez says Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood, 1996. Never saw it, never interested, but thank you very much for mentioning it. I can only assume when you mention titles, that means it's something you like, which is cool. Yeah. 96, it's funny because in 96, I was already almost kind of bowing out of newer movies, not as much as I am now, but I was starting, come to think of it, it was like I already knew, like in 96, that horror is pretty much gone to shit. So I was kind of starting to slowly step away from movies as far back as 96, come to think about it. Austin Wilcutt says, and was pretty bummed at the end walking out. So you walked out of T3? Matthew says, wow, I can't imagine seeing Terminator 2 in theaters. That must have been mind-blowing at the time. Oh my God. Exactly. 14, Terminator 2 opening day in the theater. That was the shit. My friend and I saw my friends, let's see, how does this work? My friend's mom brought me, him, and another friend of his to go see it. And I remember my friend was like so excited at the beginning. He's like, oh, they got some future stuff. The movie starts with the future time. Yeah, T2 opening day was the shit. And I'll tell an honest story about that. After the movie was over, because when, as his mom was driving all three of us and herself to the theater, it was all banter between us, I mean, not so much his mom, but all three of us, teenager kids and stuff going to see T2, just banter. On the drive home or the drive away from the theater, it was like silence because we couldn't believe what we experienced. I'm not even necessarily talking about CG as much as just I mean, oh my God, T2 at the time was like the shit. So the car ride back away, coming home from the theater was silence. It would have been so funny to have recorded our trip to the theater and trip back because it was completely different because our minds were just blown away. Matthew says that movie was so ahead of its time for everything. Yeah. I mean, that movie was great. I think we talked about it last week that it should have ended with T2. I mean, the fact that they ever made a third one or anything beyond T2 was was laughable. Matthew says, you know what is really sad? We might not have movie theaters after this shit. Exactly. And as I said, I think in weeks past on the show, to be honest, because I mean, I feel sad for people who movie theaters are a big part of their life. But for me, since I don't really care about new movies coming out so much, it's really not that big of a deal. I can't say that if movie theaters die, I won't, part of me won't be sad, but not as nearly as sad as if it had happened in when I was younger or whatever. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the fuck happens. Austin Wilcutt says T3 wasn't needed. Agreed. Everything after T3 wasn't needed. I think maybe last week someone mentioned that maybe a movie of, maybe James, if they were going to do anything after T2, maybe what would have been made more sense is for James Cameron just to have done a movie that took place completely in the future, or something. Actually, have any of you guys seen I don't think it's open anymore, not well, especially now, but I think it closed before last year. But T2 3D was something that was an attraction at Universal Studios, and I actually ended up being able to see that. You can watch it on the whole thing on YouTube. Obviously, it's not in 3D, but you can see what it was, and that was really cool. And it was that was the coolest thing because Edward Furlong was just a few years. They filmed it a few years after. Like maybe 2 or 3 years after T2, and Edward Furlong was, John Connor. And so that was really cool. And it's really a shame that we can't have like a version of that, official version of that for home viewing. T2 3D was probably, if there was going to be anything after T2, it was James Cameron who did it. So it was probably the best thing after T2 that we'll ever get. T2 3D, you can watch the whole experience on YouTube. Matthew says, I think they really are going to go away like Blockbuster did after this real soon, referring to movie theaters. It's sad, he says. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, that's just another way to get everyone on streaming, so that they can, take anything away on streaming that they want, alter anything on streaming that they want. Austin says the Terminator comics make better sequels, in my opinion. Well, I don't doubt it. That's, not being a fan of comics myself, it's not something I can comment on, but it's very possible. Summerhill Cinema says, got to run. Have a great day, everyone. If you're still here, thank you very much once again for showing up. Great contributions this week. Matthew probably says later, bro, to Summerhill Cinema. Austin says, I didn't walk out of T3. I just thought it sucked after. Oh, okay. After the movie was over and while you were walking out, you just thought it sucked. I understand. Yeah. I agree. Anything after T3 T2 rather, or anything after T2 3D is pointless. Austin says, I even saw Terminator Salvation and Genesis in theaters as well. Nothing improved. Laugh out loud. I decided to sit Dark Fate out. Yeah, it's just as well. It's just more of the same. The only thing I appreciated about Dark Fate, I think it was the first time a Terminator movie has been rated R since the third one. So it was fun to actually see some on-screen violence, if you will. But obviously aspects of Dark Fate also are very annoying. So feel free to never see that. You're not going to miss anything by never seeing it ever. Austin also says, my mom was in tears at the end when Arnold kills himself in T2. We watched it on cable early 92. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of the theater probably was. I can't remember if I was or not, but that was definitely a tearjerker moment. See, the thing about that at the end of T2 is when he's going down into it's sad already. But then if you weren't crying already, when he does the thumbs up before the thumb disappears into the molten lava, then you're gone. And what's so dumb about that is in reality, like his brain is already in the molten lava and completely destroyed. So his thumb wouldn't work. Like he wouldn't be able, he'd be dead technically when his brain goes under, his endo skull goes under the molten lava, so he wouldn't be able to do that thumb thing in reality. But everyone's emotional in that moment, so we let it go, I guess. Matthew says, I think Dark Knight was a mind-blowing movie experience. Oh, okay. Just edge of my seat the whole movie. It was insane. I can remember the summer of Dark Knight. Yeah, that was a big deal. I think the movie, I think it's my favorite of the Nolans, or it's my favorite of the Nolan Batmans, definitely. And I was so disappointed about, the lackluster Dark Knight Rises. But I'm not one of these Dark Knight worshipers, but I definitely think, out of stuff that has come out in recent years, Dark Knight is one of the better movies. Agreed. It doesn't hurt that the movie starts off on such a great note, with that cool scene and stuff. Matthew also says, and the first Transformers blew my fucking mind with the CGI. It was the first movie to really push the CGI to that level, and seeing those Transformers transform first time, especially on big screen. I can understand that aspect of it. I mean, let's face it, the technical aspect of the Transformers movies are definitely, a cool thing. But that's probably all the good things we can say about those movies are. Matthew says, blew my fucking mind. Duckman 1979. I don't think you've ever shown up in the chat. Welcome. Wow, long time no see on YouTube, he says. Welcome. I don't think Duckman's ever been in the chat, have you? Welcome either way. Austin says, I've seen Dark Fate on TV. Yikes, what the fuck? Exactly. Anyone listening now or after the fact, don't pay any money to see it. I think it's streaming for free on Prime if anyone's got Prime. Matthew says, isn't one of the best feelings in the world when you are walking out of the theater and seeing a really good movie? Yeah, I haven't felt that for a while, but now that you mentioned it, I think that was it. You know what? When you say that, I can remember seeing Rocky Balboa with my dad. The most recent Rocky movie. I mean, Rocky movie about Rocky movie. That's the title. It's whatever. I can't remember. Is it Rocky 6? I felt like that walking out of Rocky Balboa with my dad. It was such an uplifting movie that I just felt good walking out of the theater, coming out of Rocky Balboa, because Stallone hadn't been in a big movie in a long time at that point, and to see him back in such a, like a big movie and with such a heartwarming message, that might have been one of the, I mean, I'm sure there were other ones, but from recent times, just walking out of Rocky and Balboa, just feeling so good. So I concur with that feeling. Austin says Dark Knight Rises was okay, but it needed the Joker. Yeah, I thought Dark Knight. I knew he wasn't going to be able to top Dark Knight, but I thought it was. I thought it was such a letdown. Matthew says, well, let's not forget how hot Megan Fox was. Oh, yeah, there was that too. That's true. So, yeah. Plus, I was always a fan of John Turturro. I appreciated when he showed up in that movie to be comic relief, because I like him in Brain Donors. Brain Donors was a movie from my teen years that I loved, and no one else I knew liked. No one else. I think I was the only one who liked the movie in the world. But I thought, John Turturro as a comic, he was just really in his element, and I thought it was great to see him back in a comedic role. I mean, I'm sure. I know he did things like. I can't remember that. Adam Sandler movies, I think he was in and stuff, but who the hell sees those? Oh, yeah, and then Matthew also says, and the new Camaro in the first Transformers looked amazing. Yeah, that's true. That was a big part about that movie as well, wasn't it? The new Camaro. Austin Wilcutt says Rambo 4 was great in the theaters. Yeah, me and my dad saw that in the theaters as well. And good thing I brought earplugs because holy shit, they were playing that loud. Oh my God. Austin says Sly made a good comeback in the late 2000s. Yep, he kind of faded away there in the early 2000s, and then it was Sly's time to come back in the late 2000s. Yep. I think after the success of Rocky Balboa, that's probably what allowed him to do Rambo 4, which was his title. You can actually get it on Blu-ray under his title. And I think more of a director's cut. John Rambo, how cool is that title? That was his title for Rambo 4, which I love that title. Duckman 1979 says, no, didn't know you were doing these. Stupid YouTube doesn't give me any notification. Plus my work schedule is so crazy. Catching you on here is a massive gamble. Okay, well, just so you know, seeing as how you apparently don't know, this is something we're doing for the winter anyway, every Thursday starting at 1 p.m. Central Time. So I'm not doing this randomly. I've got I was smart enough to set aside a day and a time every week. So if people wanted to show up and they were able to, they could. So that's the short-term plan for the winter anyway. I can't say I'm going to be. We'll see what happens when the spring comes around. But there's plenty of winter left, so we can get our live streaming done. I mean, fuck, we're only like not even halfway through February, so we just take it 1 week at a time. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen. I guess you can't expect everyone to come every week, but no C-Snap or Gary Page this week, but that's okay. People have their own lives. I think it was either C-Snap or Gary Page who. Plus, it's late, and C-Snap's in Ireland, I think. It's late. I think it was one of those who mentioned I see Legend. Maybe they can listen after the fact and know that I saw Legend and hated almost, well, pretty much every minute of it, except close-ups on Mia Sarah's face. Austin says, I wonder why Tales from the Crypt HBO series isn't on Blu-ray yet. I can't say I would know either. I mean, is that is that series a more recent thing? I don't really follow what's going on TV/cable. Cable. Does anyone call it that anymore? Well, I mean, shit. We're still calling movies filmed digitally films, so I guess I can call HBO cable. Duckman says, I'd think any child of the 80s would hate Transformers live action films with a passion. Pure style over substance. The digital effects look way too much like video games in a bad way. Well, I appreciate the people that are here and listening and contributing in the chat. So I'm trying not to say, if someone likes something, I'm not going to, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit of self-censorship, but I subtly tried to say my feelings about Transformers movies. But, so, yeah, you pretty much summed up how I feel about the Transformers movies. But, I did, agree with the positives. I mean, let's face it, as crappy as they are, the visual effects of the robots themselves and Megan Fox and stuff are fun to look at. But let's face it, I mean, that's pretty much all there is going for those movies. Matthews says, I liked 2001 Transformers. It was a good popcorn flick. See, I mean, I think he summed it up pretty well. It's a popcorn movie. It's brainless, mindless crap. And he goes on to defend his stance, his position, And he says, hot ass chicks, nice ass cars, good CGI, good action flick. Can't argue with that. Duckman 1979 says Tales from the Crypt is a licensing deal. The rights are a mess. The reboot was shelved due to money. Jose Gomez says Wes Craven's People Under the Stairs. That's a movie that I can agree with. I actually like that. Me and my dad saw it at a second run theater. I can't remember if it would have been. It doesn't matter. It was 91 or 92. We saw it second run theater, and I'm a fan of People Under the Stairs. I think that's really pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure I reviewed it, so I'm sure my review is somewhere on the channel. So I think that's the first movie you mentioned where I can, well, maybe the first one that I've actually seen that you've mentioned. Definitely the first one that I've liked that you've mentioned. Duckman 1979 says, sorry, not knocking anyone who likes it. I just don't get it as someone who loved the cartoon. Right. And, you know, growing up in the 80s myself, that was something that I wasn't crazy about, is how intricate they were. But at the same time, I guess I can understand that they made them so intricate. But I mean, I think it worked fine in Bumblebee. Weren't the Transformers more like the 80s look in the movie Bumblebee? That was kind of appreciated by me, you know? Matthew asks me, I guess, directly, do I like The Island? I haven't seen it for the longest time. I can only assume you're talking about the movie, Michael Bay movie with Scarlett Johansson and that other guy in it. Was Scarlett Johansson in it? I want to say her name popped to my lips. Of course, when doesn't it? Just kidding. But I haven't seen it in a long time. I mean, I think it's a better movie than Transformers if we're talking about. I can't remember it. I remember not hating it, but I didn't see it many times back then. I think I've got it, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Matthew didn't grow up with the cartoons. That's understandable. And then he says, yes, she was, in regards to Scarlett Johansson being in The Island. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time, probably since, it was pretty new on DVD. But I can remember thinking it's probably better than, a lot of the more substanceless Michael Bay stuff that would come after. I can't remember if was that before Transformers? I don't remember. I think it was before. Yeah, wasn't it like 05 or 06 he did The Island, I think? Anyway, I'm glad Duckman could show up here for the very first time. As I already said, we're, for the winter anyway, doing this every Thursday starting at 1 p.m. Central Time. So plan your life around it. Jose Gomez says, Nutty Professor, Eddie Murphy. Yeah, heard of it. Can't say I have any interest in that, but that's okay. We all can't have the same tastes. Matt says, you mind if I call you Matt? Probably not. It was before in regards to The Island coming out before Transformers. Yeah, I think it was 06, 05 or 06 or something. Duckman 1979 says, you're welcome. I think he's saying, I think I thanked him for showing up. So I think that's what he's saying. It's funny how when chat's like late, it's like you don't always know what the hell people are talking about. But I think he's saying you're welcome because I thanked him for showing up. Yeah, Matt says, yeah, call me Matt. I think that means I don't care. Austin says Eddie Murphy should have never went family friendly. Yeah, I can concur with that. To me, Eddie Murphy is the 80s and R-rated movies. Oh, Will Powell's back. All right, welcome. Welcome. Welcome again. We're still here, yeah. And as I said earlier, if anyone's listening to this after the fact or whatever, you'll the tone of my voice at the beginning of the show was just like monotone suicidal. So I do want to once again thank everyone for showing up and interacting in the show today, because I was feeling much lower before I started this than I am now. So it's probably evidenced in my voice. So thank you very much for showing up. Matt says 7 people watching. Yeah, I think the max this has ever gotten to is 8 or 9. So I'm pretty sure I've never been in the double digits, but that's okay. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and listening and contributing in the chat. I don't think I said it this week, but this is definitely what I call a chat-driven show, where I don't really come on to talk about so much of, I'm not a chat ignorer. I'm pretty much here for chat, is pretty much what the show is for. And anyone who's a viewer of the channel, their opportunity once a week to ask me or to contribute real time their thoughts and stuff like that. So it's fun in that aspect, and there's nothing better to do during the winter anyway. Matt says you got a crowd. Yeah, it's a veritable crowd in here. Will Powell says my favorite Eddie okay. Will Powell says my favorite Eddie Murphy movie is 48 Hours. Yeah, I actually watched a lot of Eddie Murphy, 80s Eddie Murphy last year. There's so many of them that I didn't see, at the time, but it's just so fun to go back and revisit them. I'm partial to Trading Places myself. That's probably my favorite Eddie Murphy movie, but 48 Hours is a classic as well. Austin says it sucks we never got a Maniac Cop 4, although 3 kind of tied it up. Yeah, I would actually say it sucks we actually got Maniac Cop 3, to be honest, but that's just a personal preference situation. Maniac Cop 3, unfortunately, it's funny how you can really, how Terminator franchise and Maniac Cop franchise are kind of comparable. Maniac Cop 2 is pretty cool, although it's nowhere near Terminator 2. But then it's kind of like Maniac Cop 3 and Terminator 3 are like, yeah, what is going on here? Matt asks if I'm into cars. I was more when I was in my 20s. Not so much anymore. Incidentally, I have a Mazda Miata as well, but mine's a 95. I don't give a rat's fucking ass about that kind of, I don't know. I think that, Miatas are made fun of in movies and stuff. Anyone who's making fun of a Miata had to have never ridden in one, because it's such a fucking great car. And I remember because, we had the Miata in 98, and I was so jealous of when they did the new redesign. And was it 99 they did the redesign? I think you've got that kind of era Miata. And I was like, oh my God, someday I'm going to have one of those. And I never ended up with one of them. So that's okay. Now the Miatas look like shit. Oh my God. Duckman 1979 says, did you get a chance to see the Ghost in the Shell live action film? It's actually solid, but was buried online, which is a real shame. Beautiful 3D film, not perfect, but enjoyable. So that's the one with Scarlett Johansson, I think. I ended up seeing that. I never talked about it, but I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it doesn't have like it kind of has a strong Asian vibe to it or whatever, because it's based off of, that's an Asian, is that like an Asian story or whatever? So yeah, I thought Ghost in the Shell, if we're talking about the same one with Scarlett Johansson, was pretty good. I don't think I've seen it in 3D, but yeah, I thought it was one of the better movies of recent times. Will Powell says, anyone else in the opinion Netflix, Prime, Amazon Music, Apple Plus, Apple TV is all getting confusing and a mess? It really stresses me out, starting just to go back to DVD. Yeah, it's a goddamn joke is what it is. You know, and it's so, I completely sympathize with you. It's just like so much more satisfying to just put a disc in a fucking player, isn't it? Because I was saying earlier that you spend half, oh wow, we're up to eight viewers. You spend half the time, or maybe 3/4 of your time, looking for something to watch on a streaming thing, and you're not even watching anything. So I agree 100% with Will on that fact. Holy shit. Okay, I'm way behind chat now. Maybe if you guys want to just hold off on comments for a minute until I can get caught up, it's up to you. Austin says Maniac Cop 3 had such a troubled production. I know. It shows, and they're using outtakes from Maniac Cop 2, and you know it's a bad production. But it's funny how some things are cool about it. He also says, I think William Lustig disowned it. I think you're right. I do have the Blu-ray of 2 and 3, though. I've reviewed all 3 of the movies and the Blu-ray of 2 and 3 on the channel. I don't hate Maniac Cop 3, but as a whole, it's a disaster. Matthew says, at Will Powell, they all suck anyway. Laugh out loud, but yeah, it's confusing and you forget. Now HBO Max, ha 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 ha. Matthew says, oh shit, you have a Miata now? I've had it since 1998. Me and my dad went halvesies on it. So it's a 95 that me and my dad got in 98. It's an M edition with a hardtop as well. Matthew says, I've driven a lot of sports cars, and the Miata is still one of the best handling cars ever made. Yeah, my dad was subscribed to like a car magazine at the time, and it was always had high praise. Miata was always highly praised. So, you know, movies, you know, there's this thing about, you know, men making fun of men, or, you know, maybe straight men driving Miatas. They can go get fucked, because you're absolutely right. And unless you've driven a Miata, you don't know what the fuck you're missing. And goddamn, top down on a fucking, you know, 73 degree day is, you know, add that to the fucking amazing handling of it. It's a hell of a vehicle. What's your, you might have already answered this. I'm behind on comments, but if you haven't, what's your thought about how Miatas currently look? Don't they look like shit? Austin says, will Powell stick to physical media? Streaming is a scam. Matt says, yeah, I have a 99. Is the he says RES. I don't know what that means. We'll just say the new design, or the newer design at the time. That was the first redesign of Miata, as far as I know. I did a review of my Miata on my other channel. He also says, you don't like the new Miata. I really like the look. Okay, well, to each their own. Yeah, I think it looks like shit. I think the Miatas that look really great, some of the last Miatas that look really great are I think it was like the 2011, 2012 era, when they had the retractable hardtop. I missed the boat on those. Those were like, back when I was dreaming of moving to Arizona, I thought I could move to Arizona and have a Miata with a retractable hardtop, and life would be perfect. I can drive that all year round. Will Powell says, I like it better if the streaming services were organized better and more simple. I agree with that. You know, an acquaintance of mine actually, came over and we watched something on their Netflix, and holy shit, I've never actually experienced Netflix, and talk about no organization fucking at all. I mean, it makes Prime Video look like completely organized. Like, how do they even organize Netflix? It's like not. So I was really surprised about that. Once again, it's up to you guys, but maybe if you could just chill out on chat until I can get caught up. It's up to you. It'd be helpful. As I'm trying to refine my place. Oh, I can use this feature. Okay, here I am. Matt says younger kids don't really make fun of Miata anymore. Ever since YouTube, they've gotten a good reputation and the love they deserve. So no one really says shit bad about them now for most part. Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, because if anyone's ever driven one, they'd shut the fuck up, I'll tell you that. Duckman 1979 says, yep, the same one. If you can get used to the 3D copy, it's a perfect tech demo for what 3D can do. Yeah, it's a perfect movie. We're talking we're talking about whatchamacallit now again, Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, I can only imagine it's a perfect 3D demo disc. I can only imagine it's really good in 3D. Jose Gomez says Hellraiser Bloodline 1996. Yeah. For me, the last one that was any kind of viewable was Hellraiser 3, but once again, to each their own. Will Powell says, then there's also Google, Google Play, Google Play Store, iTunes. It's one massive cluster fuck. Austin Wilcutt says, I have all Maniac Cops on Blu-ray. Yeah, I would have had the first one on Blu-ray, but I got the before I think before the first one was on Blu-ray, I got the DVD of it. I think it's Synapse or whatever. So just like with the DVD of Basket Case 2, I mean, I just figured that I don't watch Maniac Cop that often anyway, so I didn't feel like I needed to get the Blu-ray because the Synapse DVD is so good. Matthew says, yeah, most men are very insecure and need big shit truck to compensate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're a man and you have a quiet little car, it kind of says that you're absolutely fine with who you are compared to some guy in this huge, loud truck who's just he basically wants to say, hey, world, here I am. I matter. Matthew says, I like the aggressive look of the new Miata. Honestly, I had a 2013. I can't pronounce this. I think that's another two-door Roadster, isn't it? Convertible, which is the same as the Subaru. Yeah, I don't know all these abbreviation vehicles, and I love the look of that car, which is similar to the new Miata. Well, that's cool. We all can't like the same things. Matt says, dude, I'll put the top down in the winter time in the Miata. Well, yeah, if my winter was as warm as yours, I would too. Laugh out loud. I don't care. Top down is the way to go. Isn't that the way to drive? Will Powell says, I'd be happy if each one just had. Oh, wait. Sorry. Will Powell says, I'd be happy if each one just had two options when you start up, movies or TV. Then you select one, then you pick a genre. Now everything is interlinked and a fucking mess. Jose Gomez looks like he's going to have pizza for dinner. Yeah, I'm a pizza man myself, so. All right, I've caught up on chat, everyone, if people want to start chatting again. Well, I'm almost caught up. Will Powell says, I'm a little OCD, so this makes me want to throw the TV out the window. We used to have 5 channels and a TV guide and videotapes. Simple times. Exactly. And that's probably what they do it for. They're trying to drive people to throw their TV out the window so they have to buy another one. Oh, Gary Page is here. Welcome. Gary Page says DVD, Blu-ray. Oh, wait, he's in the UK too, so I don't know. I don't want to offend him. Gary, I've been talking with the British accent for Will Powell. He doesn't seem to mind, but I don't want to do it for you if you would take offense to it. But he says DVD, Blu-ray, brilliant. Streaming, piss off. I'm too old for this. Matt says, I'm assuming you have a second car since you have that boat. Yeah, I mean, the Miata's obviously not a winter vehicle. Which boat are we referring to? Kayak? Will Powell says, oh, that's a London accent there, Nate. I'm from Nottingham. So triggered right now. You American cowboys. You steal my favorite YouTube. Ha 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 ha. Well, shit. I don't know how to... I guess I'm just doing a generic UK accent. Duckman 1979 says, after the scamdemic, streaming is going to take a massive hit. Pure oversaturation of new media format. Yeah, assuming it ever ends. Oh, shit. We had a whole conversation about that before you showed up. I don't really want to get back into that, but assuming it ever ends. Matt says, didn't you have a kayak? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I didn't know what. Yeah, I usually. Okay, so exactly. Yep, it's the kayak. Matt says, I mean, you could haul a kayak with the Miata, to be honest. Yeah, I've actually put the kayak on top of the hardtop on the Miata. I only did it once, though, I think. But, yeah, the Miata is not a winter driver, definitely. My year-round vehicle is Jeep Wrangler. I'm a Wrangler guy. Will Powell says, nearly said yank there. Didn't know if that was literally offensive. Ha 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 ha. Oh, fuck me. I don't give a shit what you say. Will Powell says, you can call me Limey. That's fine. And he winks. You can call me a yank. That's fine. Matt says, wow, a Wrangler and a Miata, best of both worlds. Exactly. When I got the Wrangler, I'm like, you know what? This is a perfect Minnesota vehicle because you can take the top and the doors off for those July days. And when it's winter, you can have four-wheel drive. Matt says, Wrangler, you can cruise top down as well while you're off-roading. Yeah, I don't do off-roading, but I'll tell you what, top off and doors off is really fun. I don't I stopped taking the top off because I don't know, my mom and her I don't know, her guy friend would help me with it. And years ago, when we were putting the hardtop on for the fall, the guy's like, oh, like he was sore after doing it, and I've never taken the top off since. It's one of those things that kind of wears off, but I don't bother taking the hardtop off the Jeep anymore, but that's fine. You can still take the doors off relatively easy. Gary Page says, you sound like a true London wanker, but I'm from Manchester and it sounds great. All right, let me do this properly now. If you won't be, I'm going to do this if you won't be offended. You sound like a true London wanker, but I'm from Manchester and it sounds great. Will Powell says, London sucks, by the way. It's the center of hipster lefty snowflakes. He also says a lot of normal centralist people are trying to get the hell out. That's what I hear about what's happening to California, too. Matt says, don't the Wrangler have a convertible top that you can put it down? Yeah, the Wrangler I got actually came with a soft top and the hard top. So what I would do in the spring is take off the hard top and go soft top all summer. And then in the fall, I'd put hard top on, because if you think I'm going to, try to get through a Minnesota winter with a soft top, you can forget about it. So that's what I would do. And to be honest, I did it enough where, I don't really need to do it anymore. But it got to the point where I don't, my mom and her guy friend are a little old to be helping me take the hardtop off and on, and I don't know anyone else who can help. So I kind of just stopped with the Jeep hardtop taking off, but that's okay. Will Powell says, I drive a crappy Ford Focus. Ha ha ha. The ladies love it. Well, that's all that matters. Well, you probably get a lot better gas mileage in your crappy Ford Focus than I do in a Wrangler, I'll tell you that. But I guess when you don't drive a whole, when you don't really go anywhere anymore, it doesn't really matter much anyway. Wow, 2 hours and 40 minutes the show has been. This might be an all-time record because I don't really feel like quitting yet. I mean, the time, it's amazing what happens to time when you're sitting in front of the computer streaming. Matt says they sell those lifts you can get to take off the hardtop. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I've been, taking off the hardtop for such a long time on that thing that I'm fine by not doing it anymore. Trust me, when you get older, like, you're fine with being a little more lazy. But I appreciate, Matt, the suggestion for that. That's true. And he says, I mean, you got the Miata for top down anyway. Exactly. If I want to do top down, I can just do Miata. A funny story about me bombing around in the Wrangler one summer with no doors or top. I went somewhere and, oh my God, it's such a cool thrill to drive around in the Jeep with no doors and top that I got to my destination and I left the keys in the fucking ignition. I'm really glad that they were still there and the Jeep was still there when I came back out. It's just so stupid. That could have went a lot worse than it did. Okay, Jose Gomez brought up a new topic, one of which don't want to get too deep in, but he says Tom Brady scam. I'm not into sports by any stretch at all, but in case of those of you people who are, just know that just like everything else in popular mainstream culture, sports are. I got to concur with his comment that sports are just as much of a joke and predetermined as anything else that you can consume in media. So I'd go a step further. Instead of just saying Tom Brady scam, I'd just say all sports are scam. Will Powell says, if you ever visit England, I recommend the Southwest. It's almost tropical in the summer. The rest of the country is going down the shitter in a lot of ways. Well, thank you very much. Can't say I'll probably ever go there, especially with the way things are and the way they're headed, but thank you very much. So are you in the Southwest then? I think the only person who didn't show up today was C-Snap. I hope he's okay. But I don't expect people to show up every week. So I think he was the one who suggested I see Legend. So that's the reason I keep bringing it up. Will Powell says, yes, I am. That's where I have moved to. 7-hour drive from where I used to live. Jose Gomez is in Iowa. Okay. It's probably not that much warmer down there, huh? So, God, when you're 7 hours away from where you used to live, I mean, how does that work for any family or friends that used to live there? I mean, did they used to live there? And are you now 7 hours away from family and friends? How does that work? Matt asks a question that I've often asked myself. He says, do you think you will keep the Miata for life? I mean, so far I have. I mean, I've had it for, what the hell, was it 23 years now? So it's kind of like it's so old that it's probably not even worth selling. So chances are I might just keep it for life. I mean, it's, and because I bought it with my dad, and I don't know, when you're a sentimental sucker, it's a good question. I mean, so far I've kept it for life. I guess I don't have any plans on getting rid of it, and since I only drive it in the summer, we don't have as much of the bad rust issues for it as you would if driving something in the salt-covered road, salt-covered winter. So, I mean, I don't have any plans to get rid of it. It's funny because, years ago, not long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, we're at a stoplight and I looked over and someone gave us like a smile and like a thumbs up, like, and it's fun to see, with the Jeep Wrangler thing, there's this wave thing. And I don't think it's so much with, Miata owners. Have you had like the wave thing, Matt, driving by other Miata owners? Because with the Wrangler thing, it's definitely a thing, this wave thing. But I think I generally do it, especially if I drive by someone in the original body style Wrangler. I really gotta, or not Wrangler, Miata rather. If I'm in the 95 Miata and drive by someone else in another original body style Miata, I gotta give them the wave. Matt says those older Miatas are going up in value. Well, okay, then I definitely won't sell it. I guess I haven't been paying attention. Will Powell says, I've moved with some of my family, so that's cool. I'll make new friends, hopefully, and still visit. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I know that currently, right now, it's not the most, easiest situation for you, but I definitely wish you the best with that transition. And hopefully, we can help make it easier for you just with these weekly chats on live stream radio show thingy. Matt says it might get to a point where you could sell it and get a newer Miata for almost the same price. Well, hell, that's some optimistic thinking. I guess maybe I wasn't quite aware of what I had. Since obviously I don't drive it in the winter, it's not getting rusted to shit. Gary Page says, I'm in the Northwest summers. Oh, okay, I guess that's the end of a sentence. I'm in the Northwest. Summers are crap. If we do have a heat wave, everyone complains it's too hot. Yeah, they do that in Minnesota too. I'm like, would you rather have it be -1? Shut the fuck up. Will Powell says, movies are my friends. Wink. Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's something that I've, the same thing that I've understood pretty much my whole life, Friends will let you down, movies won't, unless your VCR tape gets crinkled in your VCR or your whatever, DVD player, whatever. You get what I'm saying. Matt says, dude, almost everyone that drives by with the Miata waves or flashes headlights. Okay, good. He also says, it's rare I don't have someone wave or flash headlights from any generation Miata. Okay, cool. Well, to be honest, I don't think I really see a whole hell of a lot of them these days. But Will Powell says, I appreciate that, bro. Well, you're very much welcome. The fact that you went away and came back kind of speaks volumes. Good volumes. Maybe you had to take a dump, I don't know. Or take a dog for a walk. Will Powell is crying with laughter. Well, Well, I can honestly say that we're probably going to hit a new record with this particular week's show, because we're almost at 2 hours, 50 minutes. And I mean, I'm not even sick of this. So I think we all need this right now. Austin says, do you think Arrow Video uses the best Blu-ray cases? I don't have a problem with the Blu-ray cases. I kind of like them. I haven't had any issues with them so far. Have you? I kind of like the fact that they're different than your average Blu-ray case. Will Powell says, nah, I just had to help with some books moving. That's understandable. Matt says, do you have a decent backyard? There's some things that I guess maybe I'll just keep to myself. He also says, 3 hours, baby. Gary Page says, is this a car channel? What the fuck? I'm sorry I tuned up late. This week we've kind of been all over the place. If you're annoyed now, just imagine how annoyed you would have been if you were here for the first hour. We were talking about how the world's completely fucked up. So there's really no rules with Huge Movie Fanatics Radio, other than just to be cordial and not fight with amongst each other in the chat, which so far hasn't been a problem with the show. So although it is a movie channel, I mean, when you're sitting talking live, I mean, I don't know if anyone can be expected to just talk for fucking 3 hours about movies only, especially with what's going on in the world now, which I don't know if we want to, I don't think I really want to necessarily get back into, but if you're annoyed now, check out the first hour of the show. Will Powell says, question, do you have a local bar where you live, Nate? Like we have pubs to meet people in England. Yeah, I imagine there's way too many bars, but I don't know if they're probably not open. I'm not a bar guy. I'm not a crowds guy. I don't drink alcohol and I don't like crowds. So even if they were open, you'd never find me in a bar. But it almost feels like I'd almost be more willing to go into a pub, to be honest, even though it's the same thing, just called something differently. But I have this thought that maybe a pub is maybe a little more, it could just be programming from movies, but it might be a little more quaint than an American bar. I mean, American bars are, pardon me, just not the place you want to be, in my opinion. But again, this is just my opinion. Matt says, I woke up early and set my alarm to get up to listen to the show. I'm on the East Coast time, so you start at 2 p.m. here. Oh, shit, you had to wake up by 2 p.m. Well, thank you very much for doing that. That's interesting. We have people in the world setting their alarm clocks just so they can wake up for the show. Well, thank you very much for letting me know that. The fact I had to wake up for this is kind of funny. Unemployed life. Yeah, I used to sleep in way too late in the winters myself, and I try to not do that anymore. I mean, I got to the point where, I'm waking up at fucking what? I don't even remember. It was ridiculous. 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then you get like a fucking hour or two of daylight. It was just depressing. So I understand that. That's just comical. I would have been, I can just see you setting the alarm for 1:30 p.m. I can't miss the Huge Movie Fanatics radio live show. Oh my God. I'll tell you one thing. I mean, nah, never mind. Gary Page says 2 words that are very near and dear to my heart, and they are terror train. I'm right with you there. Gary Page, do you own any? So you're in the UK. Do you own Terror Train on any Blu-rays or anything? It's now. I think it's on 88 Films, isn't it? Yeah, maybe you were the one who told me about it, that it has a cleaned up print or something. I love Terror Train. I've actually been I've got what I've done, because I'm such a movie nut, is I've ripped the DVDs into MP3s and I put it on iPod, and I've actually been going to, you put your I've got the iPod dock, and I've got the thing on, I put it on sleep for 40 minutes, and in the past couple of nights I've gone to bed with the audio of Terror Train playing. That's how much of a movie psychopath I am. But even just listening to movies for me is fun. And I used to even, that's how I'd wake up for work, is I'd have an MP3 of a movie, and I'd wake up to a movie. Uh-oh. Gary Page says Friday the 13th, please. Yeah, don't get me started. Austin says Arrow's cases are nice and thick. Yeah, I think I like Arrow's cases. Jose Gomez says something possibly in Spanish. I don't know. Duckman 1979 says American bars are nothing to write home about, just a bunch of drunken people. Yeah, that's just it. I mean, you can just type fight at, and just, it's a shithole. But I like to think, maybe I'm just being, what's that word? Romanticizing it. But I like to think like a pub in England might be a little more, quaint, but it probably is not. It's probably just, programming. Matt says, yeah, I literally did set it for 1:30. Well, yeah, if I had to be up by 2, I'd probably set it to 1:30 too, because I wouldn't want to miss out on my precious afternoon sleep time. So out of curiosity then, what time did you go to bed last night, Matt? Will Powell says, oh, bro, if you ever come to England/Southwest, I'll meet you for a pint. I don't drink, but you can have your pint. I know loads of pubs that are like American Werewolf. Oh, fuck. See, that's what I was thinking. Like, I'd be totally down to go to American Werewolf from London pub. Fuck. I'll just have a water. I know loads of pubs that are like American Werewolf pub at the start of the film. Some really are like what you said. Some are shitholes, of course. I'm laughing at my accent. Most of the pubs in Cornwall/Southwest are like what you described. Well, that's freaking cool. Jose is saying like another, I don't know if it's a movie. He's saying another Spanish kind of word. Will Powell says, being a musician, I've played in some really rough places. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Everyone, Will Powell's a musician, everyone. For everyone listening now and after the fact. Austin says, Shout Factory had a Terror Train release at one time. Yeah, I got both that and the new, I can't even remember who put out the recent North American Blu-ray of Terror Train. Scorpion, I've got both of them. But yeah, see, Gary Page mentioned, I think in a week, in another show, that 88 Films is the better version. You must have seen my review of the shit, I just said it. What is it? Scorpion releasing version that doesn't have the Fox intro, because he's bringing that up, that the 88 Films, I think, is cleaned up and it has the Fox intro. For some reason, the whatchamacallit, why can I never think of it? Scorpion releasing doesn't have the Fox logo at the beginning. It's United Artists, and maybe possibly I wondered in my review of that release if it's because it's from a foreign print or something. Who knows? But I prefer the Fox logo before the movie. Duckman 1979 says, yeah, pubs seem to be classy. Yeah, I don't know. You I can only assume you're in America, Duckman. Yeah, that's the, through movies or whatever the hell we ingest in North America. That's, I think, the general consensus is that like a pub would be more of a classy place, not to say, like Will said, that there aren't shithole pubs. Oh my God, looks like Matt probably went to bed around like 6 a.m. So would have been waking up around too anyway. Oh my God. Yeah, I can remember being I don't think I necessarily, I mean, I can remember going to, bed that late as a teenager on a sleepover, but I don't think I ever did it as an adult, but that's okay. Do what you will. I know that in past winters and stuff, it has, it did get really bad to where it's like you're staying up till 3, 4, and it's like, oh my God. Will Powell says, "You're not just romanticizing about English pubs, some really all lovely. I'm sounding like such a proud Englishman now. That's okay. I mean, shit, if there's something of value or decency in where you live, there's something to be said for something, good." Duckman says, "Yeah, Illinois. How you like the cold, Duckman?" Gary Page says, "That would scare the shit out of me. Country pubs." He's probably referring to the one at the beginning of American Werewolf in London. Exactly. God, yeah. Duckman says, "Been working graveyard shift for 20 hours. It's brutal. I can only assume, or I can only imagine." Duckman, "It's crazy cold. 12 to 14. Well, you're warmer than I am. We're having a hard time coming out of 0 today. I don't know if we've done it or not." Will Powell says, "I remember playing a really nasty, dirty, rough." Oh, playing. Well, I'll add at. "I remember playing at a really nasty, dirty, rough pub, and when I walked in, the guy said, 'You best be fucking good, mate, or you won't get out alive.'" Oh my God. Well, I can only assume you were good because you made it out alive. Jesus. I don't know if you've seen the Blues Brothers, but that reminds me of that country bar in the Blues Brothers. You've probably seen that. With the chicken wire. "Stand by your man." "What kind of music do you play here?" "Well, we play both kinds, country and western." That's when movies were fucking great, man. Gary Page says, "The UK countryside is full of werewolves and vampires." Well, tell me something I don't know. I saw the movie. I know all about it. Oh my God, Sea Snaps arrived. We're 3 hours in, 3 hours and 2 minutes in. Lucky we're having a great time. Otherwise, you would have missed it completely. Sea Snap says, "Hey, Nate. Hey, all. Did you watch the movie? It Follows. Highly recommended." Well, shit, I don't remember that movie. Were you the one who I'm trying to figure out who wanted me to watch Legend, because I watched Legend. I don't remember It Follows. Maybe you typed in and I just didn't see it, but I've never seen that. Will Powell says, "Next time I'm in a country pub, I'll take a video for you." Hey, that'd be great. You can put it on your channel and I can see it. C-Snap says, "Sorry I'm late. Not a problem. Life, we all can't live for my streams." Will Powell says, "Keep to the road. Stay off the moles." Exactly. CSAP says, "Not me." So you weren't the one. So maybe it was Verisimilitude 86 or whatever. So I watched this movie for the guy, and he's not here this week. Gotta love it. Well, you can listen to it after the fact. I couldn't stand Legend. Yeah, keep to the moose. Yeah, that scene is so scary. Isn't that so well done in that movie? Will Powell says it follows. My accent sucks right there. It follows is awesome. Okay, I don't doubt it. Austin Wilcutt says worst Scream Factory Blu-ray transfer that you've ever seen. Gosh, I don't really keep a tally. Oh, I don't know if I can come up with a title. Why? What you've probably got one that you can. What would you say worst Scream Factory Blu-ray transfer, Austin? C-Snap says watch It Follows, Nate. Well worth it. Okay, possibly someday. I think, to be honest, after having someone suggest Legend last week and me suffering through that, I think I'm only going to pretty much watch things people suggest if I want to. I don't know how that's going to work. Anyway, all I can say is thank you for the suggestions, everyone that might suggest suggestions. Will Powell says, will do, probably referring to recording a video of a country pub. Not keen on seeing people's with their muzzles on their face, though. But whatever. You can send the footage to ILM and they can edit the muzzles off their faces. Matt chimes in, says It Follows was a really good movie. Okay, now I'm intrigued. Matt also says with a great soundtrack. Okay, now I'm intrigued. Gary Page says, good old boys, referring probably to Blues Brothers. Yep. How stupid was that? What sense does it make that the real good old boys showed up like after the bar closed? What the fuck point does that make? That's like that's a nonsensical detail in that movie, like T2 with Arnold being able to make a thumbs up when his head is destroyed by the molten lava. It's like, yeah, the bar's freaking closed now and we're going to show up to do a show. Like, that's, I think, a detail that wow, 8 people, folks, 8 people here. Relish it while it's 8 people. I think they expected people to not think about that plot point. Yeah, normally when we play at a bar, we show up after the bar is closed. That makes sense. Okay, so Duckman says, come to the U.S. and get booked at Papa. Okay, let me try this again. He says, come to the U.S. and get booked at Pop's nightclub outside East St. Louis, Illinois. It's pure insanity. It's a bar that's open 24/7. Yuck. Sleazy, grimy, unreal place. Well, is it open now? Yeah, Will Powell might want to look into that. Matt says, yeah, some of us only wake up at 1:30 p.m. for Nate streams. Yeah, not everyone can. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to offend you. Not everyone can be like Matt and live for the streams. Will Powell says, you make me sound so campy and sassy, Nate. Ha ha ha, love it. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad I can. Now, C-Snap is in Ireland. I don't think I can do that as well or at all as my British one. Where am I? C-Snap says, nah, Legend was a bad recommendation, not a fan. Okay, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I had to force myself to I almost broke my rule and turned it off. I have this, because I'm OCD, generally I gotta watch everything I start, but I was so close to turning it off. Legend, the DVD went in my get rid of pile last night or this morning. Will Powell says, are American balls like the one at the start of Terminator 2? Yep, they can be. Pretty lame, ain't it? Matt says, at Will Powell, some are in more rural, I can't say that word, rural parts of America. Jose Gomez says, hello, hi. C-Snap says, Matthew Haggerty, yes, the soundtrack is great. Oh, he's talking to Matt. The soundtrack is great. V, like Carpenter. Will Powell says, Matt, oh, cool. Gary Page says, yep. C-Snap says, okay, he wants me to try an English accent. Yeah, I can't do them for shit. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think I can even do it. Yeah, I don't think I can even do it. I think Matt asks me, would you ever have people be able to call into the show on Skype or something? I've thought about that, but getting back to my internet speed, which is probably really shit, I thought about that. I'm going to try to make something like that possibly work in the future. I don't know. I've thought about that. It might be something to look into. I don't know how I did. But getting back to the situation of just the old computer and the crappy internet, it just, to be honest, I mean, this works fine for me, but I don't know. We can see about evolving as time goes on. I don't know, but for now we can do this. See, the thing I like about this though with the chat is people can just say stuff, and everyone's kind of, can say stuff all at once, and I can get to it when I can get to it. If you had a call in, then you're kind of favoring whoever you're talking to, and everyone else, so that's one thing that's kind of cool about just doing live chat, is that it's like everyone's equal. Whereas if you're talking to one person at a time, then I don't know. I'm probably overthinking it. Austin says, I might say Sleepaway Camp 2 is the worst Scream Factory transfer I've seen, but that could be due to limited sources. Yeah, from what I understand, they had limited sources for 2 and 3, but I was actually when I got those, I was actually expecting a lot worse. Then I think they're in retrospect, I think the Blu-rays for 2 and 3 are pretty good. I was expecting worse because I think before I got them, I heard that they were from old masters. So I was, as I've already said a bazillion times, I was expecting worse. Pardon me. CSAP says the absolute worst Irish accent is in the movie was in Caddyshack. Yeah, I can't remember exactly which one or which who. Yeah, I don't know who did a Irish accent. You know what? I don't even know if I could even try an Irish one. Yeah, it just let me just the absolute. I'm trying to read your comment in Irish. The absolute worst Irish accent in a movie. See, it's all over the place. The absolute worst Irish accent in a movie was Caddyshack. Ugh. Will Powell says, which legend film are we talking about? The one with Tom Cruise? Yeah, I'm not. C-Snap already answered it. I'm. Someone suggested it last week. I think it was someone who's not here right now. Verisimilitude 86 or something, and I had the DVD. I never watched it, so I made myself watch it, and oh my God, it's really not my cup of tea. Okay, okay, just so everyone knows, I'm like really behind on chat, so maybe if you guys want to just chill out on chat for a sec, it's up to you so I can catch up. C-Snap says, Tom Cruise also had a terrible Irish accent in Far and Away. Oh, I think I remember that. Duckman79 says, I have no clue if it's opened. Oh, regarding that bar, I have no clue if it's open at this time. There's been so many raids and stabbings there. The nightclub is somewhat infamous for its rep in the Midwest. It's like the bar From Dusk Till Dawn times 100. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a place I want to go. Matt says, if you can stream without lag, I doubt you'd have a problem with a call since it doesn't take much bandwidth for phone calls. That might be something to look into in the future. I don't have Skype on the computer at the moment. Possibly something to look into in the future. Matt says, anyone here a fan of The Walking Dead, or at least before it went to shit? I can say no fan whatsoever. It's another bit of truth that they put in media. They're basically just, it's a movie about Americans, or not just Americans, but worldwide Walking Dead. I've so much, there's no way I could do this because there's no way I could gather enough people, but I've had this dream of doing like just a couple minute, just like a scene, trying to recreate a scene from Night of the Living Dead. You can do it in black and white and stuff like that, where you've got these slow walking zombies and they're all just like have their phones up in front of their faces, and it'd be the 21st century version of Night of the Living Dead. You wouldn't do the whole movie. You just do like a 5-minute scene of them trying to break into the farmhouse and them banging their phones against the door and shit, their phones. Matt says, I think it was season 8 that went to shit, if I remember, for Walking Dead. Yeah, I've never been a fan myself, but that's okay. We can't all like the same things. C-Snap, I think is I think he's reacting to my Irish accent. I don't blame you. Maybe I'll do more of it for you. Matt says, everything before that I thought was awesome, especially the early, I don't know what this word, if this word is spelt right, Negan stuff. Yeah, I'm afraid I can't comment on that show. Never watched it. To be honest, I was kind of over the zombie shit before that show even started. C-Snap says, sounds like German. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I'll try reading more of your comments in an Irish accent. I see another one here. Let me read Duckman here. If you want to learn the ins and outs of streaming, check out Hal Sparks. He's done 2, how to stream and put them on YouTube to help people out. The guy is very smart. Well, thank you very much for the advice. I mean, to be honest, I'm fine with this for now. Well, I don't know. We can see what the future brings. C-Snap says, okay, ready for this? Yeah, okay. I can't even fucking do it. I think I can, oh my God. Yeah. I like The Walking Dead, but it's really going to shit. Okay, I can't do an Irish accent. Pity. Matt says, but not only just phones now with their masks on. Yeah, I wouldn't even do the mask. I can't stand that thing. I wouldn't even. I hear you. I understand, but I wouldn't even do the mask horse shit. The phones is enough parody and disgust for me. But I hear you. C-Snap says, okay, ready for this? My favorite zombie movie, was 1978's Dawn of the Dead. That's more like Australia, isn't it? But you did also enjoy, okay, fuck it. Anyway, so he says, my favorite zombie movie was 1978's Dawn of the Dead, but you did also enjoy the remake. C-Snap is just laughing, tears of laughter. Yeah, I think it's quite evident I can't do Irish accents. Okay, caught up on chat. Thank you, everyone. Matt says, love the remake. Austin says, okay, I'm going offline now. See you next Thursday. Thanks, Austin, for showing up. He showed up right away. I mean, last week he showed up late. Today he got to do 3 hours of fun with us. So I'm glad we made up for his showing up late last week. C-Snap says he's crying more tears of laughter. Now sounds South African. Yep. I'm quite versatile in my accents. When I try to do one, I do another one. That's how good I am at that. That's so. CSAP says, yeah, damn, I missed the show. He says, yeah, damn, I missed the show. Yeah, That's okay. You can listen to it live back later. We started the show with some serious ass topics, which hopefully doesn't jeopardize the channel. We can hope. But after the fact, I said I was just kidding about everything. The government is the best, so hopefully that'll save it. Duckman says Day of the Dead is getting a follow-up TV adaptation, sci-fi, terrible idea. Yeah, so didn't like the original Day of the Dead, wasn't it even like remade or something at some point? I don't follow it. I'm kind of done with zombies a long time ago. C-Snap says getting worse. Yeah, well that was Asian accent, I think. C-Snap says I hope you talked about some good horrors. Well, we talked about the best of the horrors of what's going on in the world right now. We started the show off and we got really deep into just the horrors of daily life, not horror movies so much, but horrors of life. Yes, Matt's chiming in and trying to save the show. We love you, America. We love our frontline workers. We support masks. Don't forget about the troops. Don't forget about we're all in this together. Oh my God. Fuck me. C-Snap says terrible idea. I don't know if you're referring to talking about the realities of the world or the new Day of the Dead remake. Matt says, yeah, the real horror is right outside our door now, worse than any horror movie. Yeah, you want to talk about a horror movie, go to fucking Target. And I'm not talking about the early 90s Jennifer Connelly version. I'm talking about Masks of the Living Fuckwad. C-Snap says, love the original Day of the Dead. Met Joe Plato, I can't pronounce his name, Captain Rhodes in Dublin. No, that's cool. Duckman says, yeah, Day of the Dead got 2 follow-up direct-to-video sequels, mostly as tax shelter. Yeah, because I remember back when I used to go to stores, I'd see, like at half price, I'd see those covers, Day of the Dead, and it's just like, what the fuck is this? And Matt is regaling us with emojis with muzzles. It only looks like there's one, though, on each of those emojis. You should have 2 or 3 layers on. C-Snap says he's dead now. Rip Joe, however the hell you say his last name. Choke on him. I don't know. Choke on who? Joe. And Matt has given us some doctor's offices emojis. I'm still kind of concerned about only one mask, though. I might catch the cold or flu from you. You should have at least fucking 3 layers so you can't breathe. Gary Page says, don't ask me, C-Snap. I came late and they were talking about cars. That's true. This week was anything goes, man. No holes barred. Oh, you guys, if you listen to the thing from the beginning, you're going to be really disappointed what we were talking about. C-Snap says, choke on him was his famous line in Day of the... Oh, okay. I'm not so familiar with Day of the Dead. And looks like Matt's giving us, I don't know, what are these, black hearts or something? Duckman, any thoughts on Larry Flint? What I can't. I'm having a brain. What's Larry Flint? I might have been doing this for too long. I can't think. Uh-oh. See, this is the only rule we have. We don't want to start fighting. Matt says, Gary Page, you don't like cars? What's wrong with cars? Uh-oh. We're going to have to end the stream if we're going to start emoji fighting. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so he's the hustler porn mag guy that was purported to have died recently. Yeah, I've got nothing to say about him. There's this cool website you might want to check out if you want any info on that. Um, Maybe I'll put it in the chat because people aren't going to know how to. This cool website that puts interesting theories on things. That if you want to know about any recent deaths or recent goings on in the world, it's an interesting website. Let me make sure I got it spelt right. No, see, good thing I made sure I got it backwards. Oh no, I got it right. Matt says Hustler magazine is sexist, is taking advantage of women. Yep. Yep. Social justice Matt strikes again. Gary Page says, I saw Day of the Dead in cinema back in 1986. Had to sneak in. I was only 16. Well, that's a cool memory. Now, how did that show back then in the theater? Was it like the unrated version or was it cut to show in the theater? Gosh, wouldn't that have been like a video nasty? I'm surprised they'd even show it unless they cut everything out. Duckman says, as an American, most people should respect what he did for free speech. Uh-oh. Here comes this topic again. Yep. Matt's a social justice warrior. So I don't know much about Larry Flint, but a guy who makes porn magazines was a beacon of free speech. Okay. And see, that's the one thing, we're not going to get into arguments here. Finally, Gary Page responds, nothing wrong with cars. Matt says cars are racist anyway. Cars are ruining our planet. Yep. C-Snap says, anyone a fan of The Keep? That cover art comes to mind. I can't say I can remember it if I've ever seen it. What the hell are you doing talking about movies on a movie channel? You freak. Yeah, it seems to me I can think, the cover comes to mind. I can't say I'm familiar with it offhand, but I can think the cover comes to mind when you said it. Gary Page says cut. I don't know what that means. Matt says, but I think you won't get a strike. I've heard a lot worse shit in live streams about wah wah and wah wah, and they weren't taken down. Well, that's reassuring. Yeah, I mean, this is such a penally freaking channel with an average of 6 to 7 people in the live stream. I can't imagine they're going to target me, but who knows? C-Snap says the Keep bombed, but worth a watch. Pardon me, that was a non-carbonated water burp. So was that. Matt says, believe it or not, Nate, I've actually been live censored in chats before because the shit I was talking about. So you mean as someone in the chat, you mean? Duckman says, no, it's not that you should watch his biopic. It's very interesting. His story is the real American dream, but people just don't like admitting that. Okay, I hear you. Matt says considered by YouTube on a live stream. So the YouTube censored your. I'm still confused. So you were in a chat like you are right now, and you got censored, or you were doing the live stream? CSnap says laugh out loud to FFS. I don't know what that means. Gary Page says the Cape Cool movie made in Wales. Well, that's cool. Like I say, every time I read the title, the cover art comes to mind, or a general vestige of it. CSnap says, Gary Page, I didn't know that. Okay. I'm going to stop trying to do the Irish thing. Matt says, as someone in the chat, they were slowing down my chats and some were straight up deleted by YouTube on a live chat. Everyone in the chat was like, what the fuck's going on? It's happened a few times. Yes, YouTube has censored me. No, I wasn't in the chat I was in the chat like I am now talking. Well, that's just weird. They must have been bigger channels then. The advantage of being a piss poor small ass channel. As a matter of fact, I'm actually completely fine with being a piss poor small channel with a small amount of subscribers. I actually like it. Because imagine how frickin', difficult it'd be to do a live stream with actually people here. I can't keep up with the chat with frickin' 5 people in it. CSnap says, referring to the Keep, I can only imagine the opening scene is great, cool soundtrack, and oh yeah, Jürgen Prochnow is cool. Yeah, no, so isn't the cover like almost like rock, or like the title is like, it's like the cover is like blue and it's like the Keep is made out of big rock stones carved out a title, or I don't know. Gary Page says, Day of the Dead BFC cut some. Oh, okay. So when he watched Day of the Dead in the theater, he cut out some of the gut munching. Matt says they weren't that much bigger, to be honest. Maybe had like 15 people watching. Huh. Oh, well, that's interesting. CSnap says, hey, or I don't know if you meant to say, hey, Nate, do you use Instagram to promote your YouTube channel? Maybe worth a try. Yeah, see, I'm pretty much anti-social media, so the only thing I'm on is YouTube. It's a good suggestion, but I'll be goddamned if I'm going to be signed up on anything but YouTube. Bad enough I'm signed up on YouTube. Yeah, I figured you meant hey and not hate. Oh my God, I've been sitting here for 3 hours and 33 minutes. Oh. All right, CSnap says, okay, Nate, guys, gotta go. Thanks for showing up. In all honesty, we probably all should, but I don't know. We can probably stick around for maybe a few more minutes, but thanks for showing up, CSnap. See you next Thursday early, he says. Well, whatever you can do, I mean, whatever you can do is appreciated. We know that people have other lives. Not Matt, though. He set his alarm clock to wake up in time for this. That was great. I love that info. Matt says, so I'm assuming that since you work in retail, Nate, then this whole has really messed up your work life. Well, I guess it could only do that if I was working. As I said earlier on, I'm good for now. Duckman says IMDb TV has a free streaming service. I have no clue if it's good. Well, we were just bitching. I don't know if we were bitching about this before you showed up. We were just bitching about. We were listing off everyone was listing off all of the 25 streaming services we could think of and bitching about them. So, goddamn these streaming services. Anyone else think it was suspicious that Disney Plus started right before the world got shut down? Must be a coincidence. Matt says, well, I guess I meant like moving forward unless you change careers. I mean, I guess without revealing too much, all I can say is things aren't so bad right now. So Duckman says it's free at last. I mean, I guess referring to live streaming. I mean, technically you can stream all kinds of shit on YouTube. There's all kinds of movies on here now that are like, I never done one, but it's like free with ads. So, I mean, I guess technically YouTube is a free streaming service if you really want to get. I can only assume there's commercials on the IMDb free streaming thing too. Matt says, because I don't know where you'll be able to get a job in retail that's not Walmart or Amazon in the future. Yeah, it'll probably be nothing but Amazon. I've often hypothesized about. I've often joked about the future. Someday there's going to be there's only going to be one store, and it's going to be called the store. It'll be the only store there is. Welcome to the store. What can I get you? It'll be like that fucking scary shit in Minority Report where they scan your eyeballs and they know what your past shopping history and shit. Welcome to the store. That'll be the only store in the world, the store. Gary Page says, cause are a big thing in American culture. I understand that. he's having his delayed conversation. That's okay. All are welcome. Matt says, Nate is living the good life. I very well might be. Matt also says to Gary Page, they are trying to ban cars more or less, or make it so you can only drive gay electric cars. Yeah, I think that's only a matter of time before they ban gas cars as well, because a big part of what they're doing is also the green agenda, but we don't need to get into it again. But I agree. At some point, gas cars will be illegal. Matt says, welcome to the store. Oh, no mask, you may never be able to return again. Yeah, and an interesting point that was brought up is if anyone who knows anything about, mark of the beast, mark of the beast, and you'll have to accept the mark of the beast to participate to buy or sell or participate in the society or whatever. It's just like, well, in the last year, it's pretty much been the mask of the beast, because you've had to have that to participate to buy or sell. And that's just like, oh my God. If you think about that. So, we can only assume the mark is coming, but the mask kind of came first, didn't it? Mask of the beast. Duckman says, it's just Disney being Disney. They take advantage of everyone. Consumers tend to back Disney despite all the shady stuff they do. I know. I don't understand how the company can still have any fucking fans. But when fans are brainwashed, that pretty much answers the question. That's how they still have fans. Matt says, but this is the only store I can go to. Oh, well, start your own store. Exactly. Or just grow your food and knit your clothes like fucking humanity's supposed to be. Holy shit, Will Powell's back again. I know we're really we're on here a long time, but I know we've been on here for a record a long time, and I was just saying that I don't know how much longer I can do this, but I mean, I think Matt's been with us the whole time from his shed. Oh, okay. Will Powell's phone died. Probably not gonna. I can't imagine we're gonna be here crazy long time. I don't know. I really should go, but who knows? Eating's overrated. Gary Page says, my dad bought an American convertible car back in the late 1960s. It was massive. My mom, I can only assume you mean mom, had to pay for the petrol. I probably went through a lot of petrol too because it was massive. God, I can't even imagine. So are we looking at, are we reminiscing about that in a fond way, or are we criticizing American automobiles, bub? Yeah, Matt agrees. Yeah, pretty biblical stuff going on. Yeah, the mask of the beast. Jose Gomez says hello. Why, hello there again. He's just letting us know he's still here, I guess. Will Powell says, just getting it back to Legend, which I believe is the Tom Cruise Ridley Scott movie. It's flawed. Tom Cruise is wooden in it, not that compelling. However, I find it visually great. That's the only thing I can say about it, is visually it's interesting, but I can't fucking stand that movie. And yeah, I mean, I think it's the young Tom Cruise. I think he got some kind of teeth work done after that movie, or sometime between that movie and his newer stuff. But it's like I couldn't stand. I think I couldn't stand it. I almost didn't watch the whole thing. Gary Page says, "Don't ask me the make of it." Okay, so what was the make of that car? Matt says, "Just been here the whole time in my shed." That's cool. Will Powell says the set design is brilliant and otherworldly. I'd say the parts of the movie that I found the less fucking hard to watch was maybe the end, where it was in the devil's lair. And let's face it, I mean, the devil makeup was great and shit, but I mean, this kind of fantasy movie and shit, it's just not my forte. But I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't done well if you like that kind of shit, but the thing is, I don't like that kind of shit. But let's face it, I mean, the devil makeup and whatever his name is, what's his name? I think I said his name earlier, fucking 5 hours ago when I started this stream. The guy who played the devil was good or whatever, but it's just not my forte. Duckman says, I think YouTube will boot you if you go over 4 hours. Streaming on YouTube does have a limit. Well, that's good to know. I mean, I've seen people do 6 hours, but they had more subscribers, so I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I kind of, as fun as this is, part of me thinks we should probably end it pretty much at 4 hours anyway, because Jesus Christ, I gotta stand up and eat something. Will Powell says, very dreamy. So on that level, I like it, referring to Legend. Well, that's cool. Can't take that away from you. Gary Page says, no, he loved his cars. Okay, so it's just kind of a little memory regarding American automobiles and Your dad buying one. Matt says it's a shame you can't stream on mobile unless you have 1K subs. You could live stream on mobile this summer out on the lake or something. Yeah, you know, I've had this channel for 10 years and I'm not even half of that. So good luck ever seeing a mobile live stream from me. Will Powell says Tim Curry, referring to the guy who played the devil in Legend. And let's face it, I mean, if you're into devil makeup and shit, it was great devil makeup, but I'm not into devil makeup. So problem is if you're live streaming outdoors on a freaking phone or some shit in the sun, I mean, good luck freaking trying to read the screen and see the comments and shit. But I guess a person could just stream and you know, glance every now and then. I don't know. Gary Page says, why? Yeah, why am I talking about cars? What the fuck? I mean, he comes in here and complaining that we're talking about cars, and you're the only one keeping the car conversation alive. I love it. Matt says, I'm going to head out to eat. It was a nice stream. Yeah, thanks for waking up for it specifically and spending the whole time here. Enjoy your dinner. Thanks for showing up and chatting. Will Powell says, are you a fan of prison movies, prison break movies? I'm not really a fan of prison movies because I'm not a fan of prison. I mean, pretty much if I'm not a fan of something, I'm not going to like a movie of something. So, you know, I'm not a fan of prison. I've never been to prison, but, you know, I'm not a fan of it. So I guess I'm really not a fan of prison movies or prison break movies. You know, I guess someone brought up someone brought up, I don't know who the hell it was. Maybe it was you. Was it you who brought up Clint Eastwood and the great whatever Alcatraz or whatever? I mean, Alcatraz is doable. Is that the name of it? Escape from Alcatraz. But in general, I'm not a fan of prison/prison break movies. Duckman says next time you do your live stream, title it Car Talk. You might get new people. Yeah, that's an idea, but I probably won't. Thanks. Matt says later. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for showing up, Matt. This guy was here like he woke up especially for it and has been here the whole time. That's dedication. Will Powell says fair play, brother. Yeah, it was me. Why don't we plan on cutting it off at 4? You know, this guy in here says maybe it'll do it automatically for us, but I think 4 hours is about 2 hours longer than we need to be going anyway. So there's always next week or whatever, but we'll probably plan on cutting it off at 4. Why don't we say that? Because chat's getting a little slow anyway, and plus, let's face it, we've been doing this for close to 4 hours. Will Powell says, I was going to suggest you watch Midnight Express, great movie about prison, but if it's not your thing, don't bother. One of my favorite movies. Yeah, thanks for the thought, but you're probably right. I mean, I guess it depends. I mean, how much of it takes place in prison. I'm just not a big prison movie guy. Chat is definitely slowing down, but that's to be expected. Nearly 4 hours in. I'd say about 10 more minutes, everyone. We'll probably call it a show, but it's definitely been fun. As I said, if you compare my tone of voice now compared to how it was when we started, you can definitely see it improved my cabin fever, or, this particular show. Will Powell says, that's cool. I'm a bit like that with gangster movies. Gangster as in what? Like Compton or Tommy Gunn in the 30s? See, I like 30s and 40s gangster movies. We're complete opposites. I'm fine with gangster movies and Jimmy Cagney and stuff like that, but as long as they don't spend it, like White Heat. I mean, I think isn't the middle part takes place in prison. I mean, I don't know, but if a movie is like a dedicated prison movie, I'm not keen on it. But if a movie, pardon me, starts out of prison, goes into prison, and comes out of prison, I don't know. It's fine. Duckman is laughing. I don't know at what at. Maybe I'm so freaking out of it. I don't even know what I'm saying. 3 hours and 50 minutes into a stream. What did I even say? Will Powell says, not saying they're bad. It's just not my thing. I meant mafia movies. Oh, I don't like mafia. If I'm talking about gangster, like, James Cagney in the, 30s, 40s, and 50s. I don't like mafia shit. I think Godfather is like the most overrated franchise ever. Gary Page says, used Cars, great film. Okay, so this is him segueing from Cars into movie by talking about a car movie. I see what you did there. Will Powell says, there are a few exceptions I like, of course. Yeah, I think The Godfather is overrated. Oh my God, that might be one of my all-time most overrated franchises. It's just like, oh my God. And if anyone listening to this now or after the fact likes it, that's fine. I'm just voicing my particular opinion. Duckman says, sorry, never been involved with a live chat, not used to the layout. That's fine. It's cool that, you're wetting your feet in this live chat in this particular instance. Thank you very much for doing so. And doing something new. Got about, 8 minutes left, everyone. Oh my God, I hope I can stand up after this. Gary Page weighs in. Goodfellas is a good film. Before I sign off, I will briefly say, since we're on the topic, I was, I actually, because Criterion, it seemed like right around the time it came out on Blu-ray, I was able to pick up the Blu-ray of The Irishman for like $20. And I was like, oh, wow, Joe Pesci in a movie again, and like De Niro, and, Scorsese, and what the hell is his other guy's name is? Shit, the other guy. Fuck, I can't remember it. Al Pacino. This has got to be worth. I was curious about it. This has got to be worth getting for $20. It was so boring to me. Oh my God. Sorry to fans of The Irishman. I mean, it's so boring to me. Those kind of movies. I'll just leave it at that. I'd rather watch Goodfellas. I mean, The Irishman was basically Goodfellas, except the same thing, except for, they're fucking 70 and 80 years old, or however old they are. Like the 70 and 80-year-old, mafia is just like, give me a break. And then the de-aging was a joke, and oh my God. Will Powell says, do you think The Godfather is one of those films people feel they have to like when they actually really hate it? I think there could be very well something to that. Pressure to, cultural pressure to say a movie's good, even if it sucks. There could very well be something to that. Duckman says, isn't Irishman like 4+ hours? Yeah, it's fucking, I think it's like 3. I can't remember. It's way too fucking long, and there's nothing that happens in the whole fucking thing. It's probably minimum 3.5 hours long. It was so boring, I couldn't fucking believe it. Will Powell says, yeah, Goodfellas was good, but still didn't enjoy it that much. Objectively, very good, but doesn't tick my box. Exactly. I mean, I can say that Goodfellas is probably a good movie, but it's really not my forte per se. Oh gosh, Duckman Almost Blind bought the Blu-ray. I'm glad I saved you from it. Can only assume you're referring to The Irishman. I did the same thing, assuming that how cool would it be to have a reunition of Pacino and Scorsese and De Niro and Joe Pesci in a movie? Well, it's not very cool at all. I mean, not to say that it wasn't crafted well. I mean, that's another thing we were talking about earlier. It's freaking digital, shot digitally for fucking, shot and originally made for Netflix. I mean, this is the age we're getting at, or not getting at. We're to, Scorsese shooting movies to make for Netflix. It's just, oh my God. I'm glad if you were still on the fence about the Blu-ray, hopefully I saved you from it. Obviously, we all have different tastes, but my opinion of The Irishman was more or less, I don't know how many stars, maybe a quarter star out of 4 stars for The Irishman, if I'm being generous. Not to say that there's nothing that's good about it, but when you compare the ratio of what's good about it to how long it is, oh, Nelly. Will Powell says, I did think The Godfather was good, but it's no Empire Strikes Back or Jaws. Haha. I found it boring. Yeah. And I do think that, I mean, let's face it, they're not horrible movies, but I think they're overrated is what it boils down to. And I was surprised at seeing, I did think that Godfather 2 was probably better than the first one, which was surprising. But, I can't remember enough about 3. I don't think 3 was really that good. Duckman says, I think the original idea was it was meant to be a limited TV series, but they ran out of money. Well, I can only assume, it's possible, but I can only assume it was meant to be what it was a movie made for a streaming service. You wouldn't expect people to necessarily watch it all at once, because you can watch an hour or 30 minutes and go back and go, I don't think it's necessarily meant to be viewed at once. I didn't watch it at once. There was no way I could. I did it in 2 halves. It would have been funny to see a video of my demeanor, like putting it in for the second half, like just this, oh my God, I gotta finish this now. Will Powell says, my favorite Scorsese movie is Taxi Driver because there's an actual character to relate to, a lot like his films seem like I'm watching as an outsider admiring and not England. Yeah, let's face it, Taxi Driver is great, and you've got the last score by Bernard Herrmann, which is beyond classic. So Taxi Driver, I can agree, is good, and the Blu-ray really looks good. Duckman says, yikes, probably reacting to my experience of trying to watch The Irishman. All right, guys, maybe we should spend the last few minutes in the wrap-up mode. I'm freaking gonna probably get out of here now. About 2 minutes left. We can wrap up and say goodbyes for the week. Oh, I'm stretching. Oh. Anyway. Thank you very much. Will Powell left and came back 3 times. That's how long I've been doing this. Well, thank you everyone for showing up. If you're listening after the fact, thank you very much for doing so. This has been fun. Duckman says, okay, take care. Have a nice weekend. You do the same. Thank you very much. Everyone else listening, have a good weekend. If you're in a cold climate, stay warm. Hopefully next week the cold is supposed to let loose and let us free from its cold grasp. Will Powell says, bye-bye, Nate. Keep on keeping on. Will do. I think we'll end it right here. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys next week if you guys are so inclined to show up. It's been fun. And we'll see you next time.